racing exhaust. They can produce around 40 different models worth of pipes for both the road racing, flat track, motocross, and off-road disciplines. They're taking their exhaust orders at their rig, and they can also transport paper home jobs. The F125 field includes a variety of air-cooled twin-shock steel-framed Grand Prix bikes, including models into the mid-70s. This class is primarily populated by the 125 to 200cc two-strokes, singles, and twins, including production race bike and converted street and enduro machines. You'll also see and hear a few Honda 175cc four-stroke twins. Single disc front brake is allowed, and some machines will also bump up to the F250. For the Class C foot shifts, Class C foot hand shift sponsored by Luke's Racecraft, and then the Class C foot shift sponsored by John and Candy Sneed. This class is for 1951 and earlier machines. Bikes are typical of those raced on early American Grand National circuits. 500cc singles and twins can be overhead cams or pushrod engines. 750cc V-twins and side valves or flathead engines, and the use of hand shift gearboxes. Battle of smaller, lighter British bikes against the heavier, more powerful American iron like Indian and Harley Davidson will be seen. Foot shift and hand shift classes are on the track together, but scored differently. And for the novice historic production lightweight, sponsored by Terrell's Custom Cabinets and Tim Terrell. Terrell's Custom Cabinets, owned by Tim Terrell, takes care of all your cabinet needs. For the class itself, these are 1978 and earlier street machines, and a very close to standard production trim. Minimal modifications make this an inexpensive entry-level class, and it is intended for novice-level riders only. This lightweight class is for 4 strokes up to 500 cc's, 252 strokes, and certain 350cc 2 strokes. That is your field for race number 1 as the riders come around to finish their warm-up lap and take their grid positions. We'll get the start going here in just a moment.
Well, welcome everybody, welcome. Thanks for tuning in here on the live program. You are watching the 16th annual Barber Vintage Festival powered by BMW Motorrad. We are looking forward to an excellent 2 very action-packed days of racing here. I'm in the booth with my good buddy Jay.
Hey.
Over here, you can see him hard at work. I just sit here and eat bonbons all day. Anyway, we are looking forward to a great day of racing. It is terrifically sunny up here in the booth. There we go. I've got an umbrella in here. I'm not even messing. Look at this. I've even got an umbrella. I'm not messing around. It is terrifically sunny and spectacularly beautiful here. 85 degrees and full of sunshine, which is perfect because, Jay, we've got over 600 road race entries today and tomorrow here. I think this has to be one of the biggest grids I've ever seen in vintage road racing. This place is just jam-packed, full of bikes.
Yeah, it's one of the bigger races that we've had in quite a long time, and it's great to see full grids out here today. Looking forward to some great racing action going on here. It's 8:30 in the morning. We won't get done until 4:35, maybe even 6 o'clock this evening, but looking forward to 16 full races here with many classes per race as the riders are gridding up out there right now.
For sure, and I just wanted to bring up the same thing. So the reason why we're on at 8:30 in the morning, and normally we get going like at around noon, right, Jay?
Yeah.
We're on at 8:30 because these grids are so massive. Our very first race of the day, let's get over to it. It's Formula 125, Class C foot shift, Class C hand shift, and novice historic karate lightweight.
As the racers grid up out there on the start-finish line, looks like it's going to be a 3-wave start with the 125s taking off first. Then it'll be the Class C foot shift and hand shift bikes next, and then it'll be followed up by the production historic lightweight machines. Our starter Ed Bargey's looking over the field as the grid marshals say everybody's where they're supposed to be out there in the grid. The riders are pulling down their face shields, getting the bikes clicked into gear in anticipation of the green flag of the start here in just a moment.
It's a little 2 strokes on that front grid. Look at all that smoke.
As the green flag waves, it looks like it's 8:05. Grayson Roberts getting the jump on the field as that first wave of 125 rips down that front straightaway, diving off into left-hand turn number 1 on the first turns of here in this first lap of the sprint race starting today, an 8-lap sprint race. Second wave now gets the green flag as the Class C foot shift and the Class C hand shift bikes thunder down the front straightaway. Everybody working their way up through the gearbox down into turn number 1. Now looking back up the front straightaway while the first wave of 125 is already out of turn number 3 over the crest of the hill down into turn number 5 over there, which is affectionately known as Charlotte's Web, as you can see by that beautiful spider sculpture out there in the infield. Now the third wave of the novice historic production lightweights, they make their start as they thunder down the front straightaway. Meanwhile, wave number 1 with the 125s all the way out of turn number 6 down that back straightaway over into turns number 8, 9, and 10 by the museum on their first lap. Then by the Class C foot shift and hand shift bikes, they work their way over the crest of the hill down into turn number 5, while the novice historic production lightweights are working their way through sections number 1, 2, and 3, which is affectionately known here on the track as the Alabama roller coaster section over there. It's got quite a bit of character in that turns over there. We'll get the full running over here for you in just a moment when they come around to complete lap number 1.
The Alabama roller coaster.
Yep, that's what it's called.
I love it. So on your screen right now, if you're following along at home, that is the third wave picking their way through that super tight hairpin, affectionately known as Charlotte's Web. A very notorious corner here at Barber Motorsports Park. A lot of runoffs, a lot of running wide, a lot of late braking, turning into no braking.
I've not been through it as a racer, but I've talked to many of them who have, and they say there's a variety of turns, and it's definitely a different turn to watch from up here in the booth, and to see how many different racers take different lines through there.
Alrighty, our first pack is making their way across the start-finish line.
Race leaders across the start-finish line. Out front, it's bike number 951, W. Corey, leading the field for the 125s with 357. Joe Corey right behind him. Then it's 721, Bob Llewellyn, rounding out your top 3 for the 125s. Fourth place, it's bike number 17G, Randy Newton. Then 373, Neil Pooler, rounding out your top 5. Going on back through the field in that 6th place position right now at 76R, Mark Perslow, 805, Grayson Roberts rounding in that 7th position, 14K, Ken Newton 8th, 7F, Mark Morrison back there in 9th, and 33Q, David Tompkin rounding out your top 10. Looks like Tompkins working his way up, leading for the Class C bikes, the Class C foot shift.
Let's go take a little sneak peek over at Race Monitor. I just got that typed up over there. Oh, wrong page. We don't need to see that. We need to see that guy. There we go. So let's go ahead and give him a little scroll down. There you go. These are going to be your first results starting to come in. These are the transponder results over on Race Monitor. If you're watching at home and you'd like to go check it out for yourself, it is race-monitor.com.
Turn number 11 over to 12 with bike number 357. Joe Corey right there behind him. A two-way battle for the 125 as they work their way out of sight up over through turns 13, 14, and 15. And it looks like 721, Bob Llewellyn still back there in that 3rd place position, 6 to 8 bike lengths adrift, as that trio leads the rest of the field here, waiting for them to come back into view here through turn number 17 in just a moment to start their next lap.
All right, and there was a great battle going on at the very front of this pack, getting ready to cross start finish again.
Race leaders across the start-finish line. It is Bob Llewellyn. He's worked his way up into the lead with 357. Joe Corey is 951. W. Corey slips back a couple of positions. Still on the podium in that 3rd place position, but bike number 17G, Randy Newton, right there behind him. Eyeing that step up on the podium is bike number 373. Neil Pooler rounds out the top 10 as the battle between Llewellyn and Joe Corey continues as they work their way out of turn number 2 up the hill over towards turn number 3. Over the crest of the hill into 4 and down into 5. Llewellyn still leads Joe Corey by about 2 bike lengths as they run nose to tail down into the braking zone over into turn number 5. It looks like Llewellyn gets a good drive out of 5 and gaps out about 5 to 6 bike lengths over Joe Corey. Meanwhile, bike number W. Corey on 951 still holding on to that 3rd place position but 17G, Randy Noob, and here comes 373, Neil Pooler, rounding out the top 5. Those 3 riders are bunching up out there for that last step on the podium. We'll see who's going to end up with it here as they start their next lap. Going on through the field, 76R, Mark Perslow, still back there in that 6th place position. Looks like 122, Alex McLean, working his way up to 7th overall. He's leading for the Class C foot shift. Then it's 33, David Tompkins. He's back there in Class C foot shift himself. So that's your 1st and 2nd for that class. Then 14K, Ken Knoop in that 4th place position. In 805, Grayson Roberts, who got a great start, still rounding out your top 10 as Llewellyn and Joe Corey continue to battle each other through the back section of the course here on lap number 3.
Just gorgeous weather, right, Jay? We just had some awful rain on Wednesday when I was driving in.
Yeah.
But it just pushed all that rain out, thank goodness. And there's been 3 whole days here and 1 more to go of just spectacular weather, big blue skies, perfect race weather. People from all over the United States coming here to race with us this weekend.
The battle rages as 357. Joe Corey pulls a draft pass out of turn number 17. Was basically side by side with Bob Llewellyn. About a half a front wheel separated those two, with Corey leading that lap. 721, Bob Lewin back there in that 2nd place position. 17G, Randy Newt, moving himself up to that 3rd step of the podium with 951. W. Corey dropping back into 4th, and 121. Alex McLean charging hard, rounding out the top 5, leading for the Class C foot shift. As this time it's bike number 357, Joe Corey leading 721, Bob Lewin down in through turn number 5, over out of 5 up through the hill. Not sure if Lewin might have a bit of an issue with his bike. Seems to be looking down it a bit, but not quite having the power that he had before, as by 357, Joe Corey really gaps out the lead, working their way out of 6 down that back straightaway towards turns number 7, 8, and 9 over by the museum. Again, as I said, 122, Alex McLean leading for the Class C foot shifts. Then it's going to be bike number 76R, Mark Perslow, then 373, Neil Pooler, 33Q, David Tompkin, and 14K, Ken Knoop, rounding out your top 10 rather, as Corey continues to lead Bob Lewin and the rest of the field. You got something you want to talk about, right? Noob out there. He's running 4th overall, 3rd in class for the Formula 125. Then it's 951, William Corey rounding out the top 5. 33EQ, David Tompkin, he's running 6th overall, 2nd in class for the Class C foot shift up there. Then 76R, Mark Perslow in that 7th place position. 73, Neil Pooler back in 8th. 309, Tim Joyce coming on strong. He's leading for the Class C hand shift. And then bike number 805, Grayson Roberts, still rounding out your top 10 is bike number 357. Joe Corey has definitely found his rhythm and doing his best to check out on the field with bike number 721. Bob Lewin solidly back there in 2nd, and leading bike for the Class C foot shifts, 122, Alex McLean, rounding out your top 3. We've got a lot of back-to-backs today in our racing today, so we're probably going to be dragging just a little bit on the calls. Normally I would go 1st on halfway, 2nd at white, 3rd at checker, but because all the back-to-backs, we're probably going to have to go 1st at white, 2nd at checker, and then wait till that 3rd, but we draw back-to-backs already down into the 3rd.
Gotcha. So those of you who are listening at home, Jay was just explaining to me that we've got a lot of racing that's going back-to-back, which is folks that are racing in multiple classes, and they're literally like back to back to back to back. So we try to give them just a tiny little bit of a window in case they need to gas up the existing bike that they're on if they're racing on that machine, or switch machines and go get back on the grid again for their next race. Like I said, the grids here are huge. The racing here is massive. Everybody comes here with the heavy hardware and wants to race as many classes as much as they can. So we want to make sure that we can fit everybody in. So sometimes we kind of try to give a tiny little beat in between each races and in between the calls between classes. That way we can give them just an extra second to get prepared and get back out on the grids. Now, let's get back down to the race action.
As the halfway flags are pulled in, all riders looking like they've seen halfway. It looks like 122. Alex McLean with the Class C foot shifts starting in that second wave has definitely found his rhythm. He's leading the race now as he gets by the 357 Joe Corey. Corey still leading for the Formula 125 with 721 Bob Lewin in the second out there in Formula 125, and then 951 W. Corey holding on to that third step of the Formula 125 race. And one rider looks like out a little wide over there in Charlotte's Web, as we've got one rider over in that area.
Oh, so we did indeed run a little bit wide. For the folks watching at home, you can see he's just towards the middle of the screen, and they luckily, you know, they've created a little space for people to pull off when they do run wide. But so I don't know if he's having a mechanical or something's going
got
on.
an overheat right here in the front straightaway too.
We got somebody overheating right in the front. Let's go look at that camera. There he is, a bunch of smoke and all sorts of stuff going on down there.
I presume it's overheating.
I'm presuming it's overheating.
That looks like
I hope
steam,
it's
but I
not
can't
catching
tell.
fire. I mean, that would be pretty scandalous if that's what was happening. No, I'm guessing that's probably an overheat. I'm hoping so for his sake or her sake. I don't know who that is down there. But yeah, all sorts of folks are just kind of hand grenading their bikes and things out here this morning.
It's gonna unfortunately happen. I think it's 4:31. That would be Dwayne Kulo.
So there is a red flag out right now.
That's not good.
So I don't know if somebody just had some mechanical out there on
Well,
the grid.
attention out in the paddock. We've had our first Crimson Adventure today, and I would hazard a guess it's probably for fluid on the track, because I don't see any issues with looks like anybody down, but which is good. But I'm gonna guess it might be fluid on the track. Stand by. I believe we were halfway or past halfway, so I believe this will be a complete race. But stand by. Let me get the information, and we'll get right back with you in just a moment.
So the security cameras that are showing here at Barber, we do have cameras on track here at this facility, which is absolutely spectacular. By the way, if you've never been to the Barber Motorsports Park, you need to put this on your to-do list immediately. Anywho, they have got security cameras all over the place. Unfortunately, I can't show you that footage. It's a insurance liability and an insurance situation, so they won't let me show that footage. But they are showing like really close-up lines on the track, so it looks like somebody must have dropped a little bit of fluid. So now they're gonna have to go clean that up. So we're gonna have a little bit of a downtime just for a second until they get that sorted out. So in the meanwhile, let's go check out some of our awesome sponsors and partners and go say thank you to those folks. All of our 2021 AHRMA National title partners for this year: Redwood Engineering, Haggerty Motorcycle, Insurance, Bridgestone Tires, 4SR, 4 Street Racing, and Race Tag. Also, Road Racing World and RockAuto.com. Those are our big dog sponsors, and you can see everybody else that's included on that list. You are watching an AHRMA Classic Moto Fest here at beautiful Barber Motorsports Park.
Attention out there in the paddock. Okay, it is official. We were past halfway on that one, so race 1 is in the books. And unfortunately, we do have fluid on the front straightaway. So race number 1, you're complete. We hadn't even started calls yet for race number 2. So if you guys just want to kind of hang loose just a little bit, we're still assessing this situation. Hopefully it won't take us too long to get this cleaned up. But since we hadn't even started the calls for race number 2, we've got to assess this. And so race number 2, which is going to be the Sound of Singles 3, and Sound of Singles 3, we'll get you guys going with your calls here in just a little bit. So riders for race number 2, just relax for a little bit. Again, I believe we're going to be down for just a bit here while we inspect the track and see what kind of a cleanup we've got to do out there on this. We apologize for the delay on this one, but this is unfortunately part of racing. While we've got a free moment, I want to say BMW Motorrad welcomes you to the Barber Vintage Festival. Visit the Heritage Experience in the Fan Zone to see the full R18 lineup and custom R18s, including the Roland Sands R18 Dragster. BMW Motorrad, make life a ride. Attention out there to the paddock. I also want to let everybody know a legendary racer, Mary McGee, will be signing autographs at the Barber Museum at 11 a.m. today. They have special commemorative hats will be available over there at the museum store. Again, Mary McGee will be signing autographs at the Barber Museum this morning. For those of you who have not been to the Barber Museum, I'm going to tell you it's a great place to be. You definitely want to get over there. They've extended their hours this weekend. They're open till 6 this evening and then from 8 until 6 tomorrow. And the good thing about this weekend is the expansion is open to the public, and you got to see the drag bikes and the motocross exhibit. It's definitely a great weekend to visit. Plus, this weekend is only one of 4 times a year that they open up the restoration level to the public. So it's a great opportunity to get over there and see what it takes to bring some of these older machines back to life and make them the museum quality pieces that you can see upstairs. So again, Barber Museum is open today. They've also got a lot of new merchandise over there. And they've also got their merchandise at the trailer, the Barber Museum merchandise trailer, located in the Geico swap meet area in Lot E. So they can take all of your track and museum sportswear needs and souvenir needs. So get over there and check out what they've got. They've also have this year's official Vintage Festival merchandise in stock. So make sure you get over and check out the museum, visit their gift shop, and the merchandise trailer located over in the Geico swap meet in Lot E. Looking out here at the front straightaway, looks like we've already got the speed dry being applied down there to the oil. So most of the racers, if you're not watching the front straightaway, you might want to come down here and check it out. You can see the cleanup that we've got going on. Hopefully it won't take us too long to get this addressed.
Oh, they do. Yeah, I see the truck going out there right now. So we're going to clean this up. It's going to take just a hot minute. But while we are doing that, this is literally the perfect time to show you this excellent movie. One of the biggest races of this weekend that everybody is talking about is going to be that premiere, that Vintage Cup that's powered by NYC Norton, our friend Kenny Cummins over there. So that is a super, super big deal. It is for all the marbles, as the kids say. There is champagne on ice. Like, they are super duper looking forward to that great big huge race.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, so it's the 500 Premier Vintage Cup. This is kind of the big dog premier class for the 2021 race season. Season-long championship battle will be decided in the main event this weekend at the 16th Barber Vintage Festival. So this has just been a really, really good time. Andy Mock from Milwaukee leads Tim Joyce from Florida by 171 points. However, while Mock has earned more points during the season and finished more races, Joyce enters the final 2 rounds with more individual race wins. Mock will need to beat Joyce in both Vintage Cup races to be held at the Barber Vintage Festival to secure the championship. This is a race you don't want to miss, and it's powered by my buddy Kenny Cummins over at NYC Norton, and he sent me this absolutely stunning video kind of talking a little bit about his Norton's, his workshop, his love, and his passion and his craft. So let's go ahead and check out that awesome video. I was just showing that video, that awesome footage from our buddy Kenny Cummings of NYC Norton. Just absolutely dead sexy, beautiful Norton machines. We're going to try to grab him a little bit later on this morning before the big race and hopefully drag him up here to the booth and chat with him a little bit and talk to him a little bit about his passion for these beautiful Norton machines and why AHRMA is so special to him. As a personal side note, Mr. J,
Yes.
I met Kenny at one of my very first races I ever came to watch an AHRMA race.
Cool.
Yeah, like 15 plus years ago. That's how old I am. That's right, Internet. I'm super, super old. I came here a bazillion years ago, and it was one of his very first races he ever raced also.
Cool.
So we've known each other as long as we've both known AHRMA,
Yeah.
and that just shows you this spirit, this camaraderie, this family that gets built here between these vintage bikes. You know, all of us dorks, all of us nerds are way into it. Jay's got to do some calls.
Attention in the paddock, let's go second call. Second call for Sound of Singles 3. You folks will be up here in just a moment. We've just about got this situation addressed here on the front straightaway. Again, it is second call. Second call. Sound of Singles 3, sponsored by Rising Sun Cycles. Again, it is second call. Second call for race number 2. Sound of Singles 3. Okay, seconds going out.
All
Sorry
right.
about that.
No worries. Yeah, no. I know you gotta do the thing. I mean, that's the fun of this live stream is folks get to actually like hear what we really do, and they get a little behind the scenes taste.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's race number 2, Jay? I need to put my graphics up. What race is it?
Race number 2 is right here. Sound of Singles 3, sponsored by Rising Sun Cycles.
Oh, because it's a huge grid.
Oh,
Okay.
it's massive, yeah. It's probably one of the bigger grids that we're going to have. Hey there.
Could you please do me a favor? You were just announcing about the merchandise earlier.
Yeah.
And people pre-ordered their t-shirts.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Downstairs in the AHRMA stuff. Well,
Down where the merchandise tent is.
Oh, okay.
Please come and pick them up at the merchandise tent.
for Barber? Or for AHRMA?
Wow.
That's what that, yep.
Yeah, from the
got it.
AHRMA
Okay.
merchandise tent.
No problem.
Awesome.
I'll put that
That
out.
would be awesome.
Sure,
because
sure.
You don't want to have them all left over.
It's all right, no worries. I'll
Thank
make
you so
sure
much.
to put that out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So just doing a quick commercial break talking about some merch being sold in here.
Sorry, guys. It's what happens behind the scenes, unfortunately.
It's what really happens here, Jay. It's all right.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just had to let folks know that if they went ahead and purchased some AHRMA merchandise, which you should be purchasing as well, they've made some really brilliant new gear this year. All of that information and how to get signed up to come racing with us, our schedule, merchandise, all the details can be found at AHRMA.org. So make sure you
Attention
sign
out
up
in the
and check it out.
paddock. Let's go third call. Third and final call for the Sound of Singles 3. You guys are up right now. If you want to bring them on up, we've got the situation addressed. Everything on the front straightaway is all cleaned up. So again, it's third and final call for race number 3. Sound of race number 2 rather. Race number 2. Apologize about that. Race number 2, Sound of Singles 3, third call.
You're going to give these poor
No, I
racers
was
a
gonna
heart
mess that
attack.
up. I was going to mess that up. Once again, it is third call, race number 2, Sound of Singles 3, sponsored by Rising Sun Cycles. If you guys want to bring one up, we'll send you on out here in just a minute. Running down through the grids of how they're going to grid up. On row number 1, it's going to be 251 Stuart Atkincade, 80L Ralph Starpoli, 85C Edward Blount, and 3Z David Frick. On row number 2, it's going to be 049F Danny Habermel, 56 Stephen Gillen, and 820 Mitchell Barnes. Row number 3, it's going to be 112 Adrian Gasso, 99X Jonathan Schneidel, and bike number 404 Jeff Hines. And 87, Eric Watts. And row number 4 at 641, Craig Herco. 074, Eric Luckhart. At 690, Bob Berbecco. Row number 5 is 510, Noel Corwin. Bike number 220, Tim Terrell. 456, Chloe Peterson. 41B, Jacob Trosper. On row number 6, it's going to be 917, Lorraine Crussell. 127B, Jacob Carter. And 186, Richard Demetrius. Then back on a row break, back in row number 10, it's going to be 781 Paul Nelson, 66 Chuck Crocco, 787 James Pooler, and 459 Matt Fisher. Row number 11, it's 242 Michael DeRoche, 925 Kerry Crest, 681 V Andrew Kruger. Row number 12, it's 796 Paul Vance, 923 Colleen Ermson, 97 L David Rhodes, and 297 Mark White. On row number 13, it's 066 Leisha Overturf, 141 Larry Watson, 6F Frank Cotton. On Row number 14 is 137, William Doyen, 994, Turner Coltich, 601, Christopher Mock, and 13K, Rod Skaggs. And then rounding out your field on row number 15, it's 329, Matthew Crabtree, and 9K, Candy Sneed. Or for race number 2 of the Sound of Singles 3, sponsored by Rising Sun Cycles. Rising Sun Cycles are importers of new and used Yamaha and Honda Grand Prix road racing motorcycles and replacement parts and accessories since 1997. Offering the best service available, the best parts and accessories, and a staff that understands all the aspects of their business. Racers parts delivered in racers time. You can find them on the web at www.rscycles.com. For this class, it's open to small bore production singles such as the new KTM 390 RC and the Duke, plus purpose-built race machines with the Grand Prix chassis. GP-style bikes can use any one of a variety of air or water-cooled 2 or 4-stroke engines. Liquid-cooled 2 or 4 strokes can be displaced up to 250 cc's. Air-cooled engines are 2 strokes up to 300 cc's, and air-cooled 4 strokes up to 350 cc's. So it is definitely a custom class. It's going to be a real interesting race. One of the largest grids that we've got here today, a 2-wave start. The moment.
Alrighty, it looks like everybody is where they are supposed to be, Mr. J. And am I right? Sound of Singles, obviously this is a single cylinder class, but as the numbers are higher, the CCs are smaller, right? So as it goes third, so this is Sound of Singles 3, so this is the smallest.
Small class, yep.
And then there's Sound of Singles 2, and then Sound of Singles 1, and those would be the largest displacement in a single cylinder.
Up to probably somewhere between 700 and 800 cc's in a single cylinder. They've got some massively big engines.
Who makes a 700 or 800 cc single?
Somebody who has a lot of money. Because nobody makes one stock that big that I know of.
I mean, but doesn't it really kind of cover all racing in general?
Yeah.
Although to be fair, there's really very
Mike's
reasonable.
gridded up, the green flag waves, and it looks like the first wave takes off. And actually, it's a single wave through start. That's what I had seen up there. They had 2 waves put on the grid, but it did not turn out to be a 2-wave start as 41 bikes thunder down the front straightaway, down into turn number 1, over into turn number 2. Looks like everybody cleanly through 1, trying to see who's going to lead and who's going to follow as the field working their way out of 2 up into the crest of 3 here of the crest of the hill. Looks like we've got a 1-rider breakaway as one of them gets an absolutely rocket start. Battle shaping up for third as the field dives down to the braking zone over in turn number 5. Looks like we've got one bike over off into turn number 2. Rider appears to be up and okay. We'll try and get you the number for that rider in just a minute, as unfortunately one rider's race ends early over in turn number 2. Field's starting to spread out single file now out of turn number 6, 7, and down that back straightaway towards turn number 8, 9, and 10 over the museum turns. We'll get the full running order for you in just a moment when they complete lap number 1.
Yeah, how many bikes were?
41 if everybody answers the call. Attention out there in the paddock, the AHRMA merchandise booth is set up down in Tech, and for those of you that pre-ordered t-shirts, if you want to come on down and pick up your t-shirt, they are available for pickup. Again, AHRMA merchandise booth is open down in Tech, and for those of you that pre-ordered your event t-shirts, if you could make your way down there and pick those up, that would be great. Again, AHRMA merchandise booth is open down in the Tier 1 paddock area in Tech. Looks like bike number 141.
All right, we got our first
Bike
couple.
number 80L, Ralph Starpoli getting a rocket start here, starting from the middle of row number 1, leading the first lap. Then it's going to be 112, Adrian Jasso. He started way back on row number 3. He and Starpoli have had a heck of a battle in all the races they've been here, or through earlier this year. So it's not surprising that those two are 1-2 out there. 3Z David Frick rounds out your top 3. Then it's going to be 99X Jonathan Schendel back there in 4th, and 251 Stuart Atkincade rounding out your top 5. Back in that 6th place position, it's going to be bike number 56 Stephen Gillen. 7th right now is 404 Jeff Ennis. Bike number 87, Eric Watts is back there in 8th with 41B, Jacob Trosper in 9th, and 781, Paul Nelson rounding out your top 10 as bike number 80, Ralph Starpoli wastes no time, setting a blistering pace here on the opening laps of this 8-lap race number 2.
Alrighty. Just peeking on over there to race monitor. These are your first couple of racers coming across start finish with their transponders. You heard Jay just go through it. Ralph Starpoli, just super, super fast. Every weekend I see him, just crazy, crazy talented.
Yeah, he and Adrian really push each other hard out here.
Let's go check out the cameras. Let's see where everybody's at. Let's see. Some folks should be making their way around the last turn. 16 turns? 17 turns.
17.
17 turns here.
At least
There
that's
we-
what I call it.
Speaking the devil.
Race leader, bike number 80L, Ralph Starpoli, with almost a full front straightaway lead over that 2nd place battle. Next across the line, it's bike number 99X, Jonathan Schendel, with bike number 112, Adrian Jasso back there in 3rd. So Schendel coming on strong here on that next lap as he puts himself up on the 2nd step of the podium. Then 3Z, David Frick back there in 4th, and 251, Stuart Atkincade still rounding out your top 5. Looks like bike number 41B, Jacob Trosper, working his way up to 6th with 57. Stephen Gillen back there in 7th. 404, Jeff Hennis drops a few positions back to 8th overall. 87, Eric Watson 9th, and 781, Paul Nelson still rounding out your top 10, as it looks like the battle is for 2nd between 99X Jonathan Schendel and 112 Adrian Jasso, as again bike number 80L, Ralph Starpoli, continuing to stretch out a few more bike legs every lap as he leads this race.
Folks, just start to head on down into that Charlotte's Web corner right now on your screen. Again, if you're just now tuning in across one of our many platforms that we're streaming on this weekend, Jay.
Yeah,
Woo,
what
we're all
do
over
we
the
got?
place.
YouTube and
We're on
Facebook?
YouTube, we're on Facebook, we are all over the place this weekend. Again, for all the details of our racing and our schedules, you can go to AHRMA.org. But if you have not checked out our AHRMA Facebook page, please do so as well. These races are going to be streaming over there all weekend long. Make sure you click like and share with all of your buddies that love watching awesome motorcycle racing.
Bike number 80L, Ralph Starpoli, once again continuing to stretch out his lead over a full front straightaway lead on that last race, as he has definitely found his rhythm diving over the crest of the hill down into turn number 5. cleanly through 5, onto the gas, out of 6, and back up through the gearbox. Down the back straightaway it goes. Then it's going to be bike number 99X, Jonathan Schendel, comfortably back there in second with 112. Adrian Jasso back in third. Looks like a battle is starting to shape up for that fourth place position between 251 Stuart Atkincade, who just nipped 3Z David Frick at the line. So those two round out your top 5 with 41B Jacob Trosper still back there in 6th. 56 Stephen Gillen still back there in 7th. 404 Jeff Hennison 8th. 87 Eric Watts back there in that 9th position. And 681V Andrew Kruger moving up to round out the top 10. And as Ralph Starpoli should see the green and white flags, the cross flags, letting him know he's got 4 done and 4 left to go. Those should be coming out next time by.
Jacob Trosper in this class that's racing right now. I just heard his name get called. His folks are racing in the sidecar class. It's a total family affair over here for the Trospers. They're a family out of Wisconsin. They are a super fun, good time. And his folks have been racing sidecars for years and have progressed and are just a fantastic, fantastic set of racers.
Green and white flags out for Ralph Starpoli, letting him know he's starting his second half of the race. Then it's going to be 99X, Jonathan Schendel across the line, and he gives a nod to our starter out there, letting him know he's seen the flags. Then it's 112, Adrian Jasso, 251, Stuart Atkincade, and 3Z, David Frick, rounding out your top 10, top 5 is bike number 80, Ralph Starpoli, starting to work his way into some of the slower back markers, kind of countering some of the traffic and not having any issues with them as so far as he dives down in through turn number 5 over to 6 and 7, cleanly around a couple of slower riders. Then it's going to be bike number 99X, Jonathan Schendel's turn to get around those riders as he tucks in behind the fairing, working his way up through the gearbox over the crest of the hill and down the back straightaway himself as they rocket over towards the museum turns here on this next lap. Yeah, the Trospers definitely are a road racing family for sure.
I know, they're super fun. Great, great folks, and not uncommon. Lots of families here racing together. Husbands and wives, fathers, sons, daughters. Everybody comes racing. Everybody comes racing.
Race leader, bike number 80L, Ralph Starpoli, continuing to pick his way through some of the slower traffic across the start-finish line. So everybody now has officially seen halfway. So whatever would happen in this race, it should be a completed race. Looks like Starpoli now has got a few turns worth of clean track ahead of him. Then it's going to be 99X, Jonathan Schendel, and here comes the battle for third as 251 Stuart Atkincade works up, challenging 112 Adrian Jasso for that third step on the podium. As those guys are going to start working their way through some lap traffic, we're going to see how that's going to work out for him, if Jasso's going to be able to hold on to that third place position, or if Atkincade's going to be able to use the slower traffic to his advantage. Still a lot of laps left to go in this one as Atkincade right on Jasso's tail section as they drop down into turn number 5 here on this next lap. Looking back on through the field, 41B Jacob Trosper back there and rounding out your top 5. 3Z David Frick dropping back a few more positions, still holding on to that 6th place position. 404 Jeff Hennis back in 7th. 56 Stephen Gillen back in 8th. 87 Eric Watts back in 9th, and 8781 Paul Nelson rounding out your top 10 as race leader bike number 80L Ralph Starpoli out of turn number 11 and 12 over into 13 and 14 here on this next lap.
Alrighty, I just showed you the race monitor results so far. Again, it is all Starpoli all the time here in the Sound of Singles 3 class. Just absolutely easily walking away with this race for this morning. You'll be hearing his name multiple times today and tomorrow. Get that wide shot so you can see some of the backside of this track. And our flagman, Mr. Ed Bargy, out there.
Got somebody off out there.
Oh. Somebody ran a little wide, it looks like, on the backside of the track. I'm not seeing it on my cameras, so it must be over maybe by the museum or right before 17.
Why are you shot, Jack? Yeah,
No,
come
you're
way
fine.
out here.
No, you're fine.
Oh, I bet it's over there by 12 and 13.
It must be,
Yeah,
but it's just yellow
yeah.
flags. Everyone's all right. I think somebody just ran wide, it looked like. Again, for those of you who are watching along at home, Barber Motorsports Park has excellent security cameras all around the track. Unfortunately, I cannot show you that footage. They said it is some sort of insurance shenanigans or something or another. I would love to show it to you, but I can't. So we're going to have to make do with my cameras and my one-woman army up here showing you all the best racing action. From the top of the tower, literally, you'll see some little flags flickering in front of the camera every once in a while because I climbed up on the roof here yesterday and put a couple of cameras up there.
White flags out.
White flag out for your race leader, bike number 80L, Ralph Star Poli. He's put his head down, seeing one more lap left to go. With the white flag out on this one, let's go first call. First call for race number 3, Formula 250 Grand Prix, Novice Historic Production Heavyweight, and pre-1940. Again, first call for race number 3, Formula 250 Grand Prix, Novice Historic Production Heavyweight, and pre-1940. First call for race number 3.
All right.
Looking on back through the field, 99X, Jonathan Schendel holding on to that second place position. 251, Stuart Atkincade getting the better of his battle on that last lap. He holds on to third right now with 112, Adrian Jasso back there, back and forth, and 41B, Jacob Trosper rounding out your top 5 as Starpoli working his way over through the museum turns right now on this final lap. Looks like back in 6th, it's 56 Stephen Gillen, 404 Jeff Hennis back there in 7th, 87 Eric Watts in 8th, 681B Andrew Courtier back there in 9th, and 781 Paul Nelson rounding out your top 10 as Ralph Starpoli again on his final lap.
For those of you watching along at home, I've got a very special guest who just entered the booth. My good buddy, Kenny Cummings, is here. So we're going to chat with him in between races 2 and 3 real quick.
I've got Nick Isa back there for the sidecars 2 on deck 2.
Okay.
I can come back.
Nope.
No, you're fine,
Nope.
you're fine. You were here first.
I'm like, nope. Alrighty, white flag still. Where is Staropoli? I feel like we saw him like an hour
Race
ago.
later, here he comes across the start-finish line as it's bike number 80L, Ralph Starpoli taking the unofficial win out here for the Sound of Singles 3. Looking back up that front straightaway, here comes your second place rider, bike number 99X, Jonathan Schendel, taking home the unofficial second, and here comes a battle, I believe, for third. Who's it going to be across the start-finish line? It's going to be 112. Adrian Jasso just sniffing 251. Stuart Atkincade for that third step on the podium in a hard-fought battle here. Well, let's go second call. Second call for race number 3, Formula 250 Grand Prix, Novice Historic Production Heavyweight, and pre-1940. Again, second call, race number 3, Formula 250 Grand Prix, Novice Historic Production Heavyweight, and pre-1940. Second call, race number 3.
So as promised, special guests coming into the booth, to visit with us, Mr. Kenny Cummings. NYC Norton. I wore my Hoarders Norton logo shirt particularly for you. Especially for you today. So everybody is just full of buzz about this Premier Cup, Vintage Cup, this huge race that you've been sponsoring and just crushing it. Tonight, or today, is for all the marbles. Everyone's hot and heavy and sweaty about it. Talk to us about this race.
This is the 500 Premier race is what I would call the pinnacle of what AHRMA was founded on. It is the post-war Grand Prix racing machines. You've got Manx Nortons, Matchless G50s, Gold Stars, all those beautiful English bikes, a lot of English bikes. Some Ducatis are out there as well. And it's been AHRMA's signature class, thus the name 500 Premier, for years and years. But these bikes are getting older and they're expensive to even maintain, let alone buy. And they've been waning a bit in year after year. We've seen the numbers go down. So I really wanted to get behind, and AHRMA encouraged me to get behind and get some of those bikes out. NYC Norton builds 500 Premier race bikes, Matchless G50s and Manx Nortons, and so it was a no-brainer for me to get behind this. This year, it was the Vintage Cup, and it was featured, and you know, this is a culmination of that feature to have the race during lunchtime here at the spectacular Barber Motorsports Park, to have a lunchtime race. You know, Mr. Barber puts on quite a show, and lunchtime is always reserved for him, and he'll have cool stuff coming out, and vintage cars and bikes and stuff. So for
I've
AHRMA,
seen Britons come out,
yeah,
like
exactly.
all sorts of crazy stuff.
You know, like 6 Britons were here when you're doing wheelies down the front straight. So
it was a great year.
so for us, AHRMA, Mr. Barber recognizing what we're doing here and promoting this Vintage Cup to let us have a lunchtime race, a standalone race. There won't be mixed classes. It's only going to be 500 Premier. And then, to boot, for this year, it's giving me goosebumps as I talk about this. Everybody stepped up. We had so many bikes come into this class this year. And it started off, you know, we had some dark horses coming in and getting some good points at the front of the season. And then Tim Joyce, who's always a shoe-in to win everything he comes in, he came in and you know, Tim's had some issues, and some other folks, Andrew Mauk has stepped it up. And so here we are on the last race weekend of 2021, and we've got Andrew Mauk and Tim Joyce head-to-head in this challenge. As a sponsor, as a spectator, as a lover of this class and these motorcycles, I couldn't have asked for anything better. As I sit here in this announce booth and I look out at the sunshine and the grass, and I think about this going down at lunch today, this is my dream coming true. I hope it's your dream coming true. So at lunchtime, at the end of lunchtime, I think we go to lunch from 11 to 12:30. So I would expect the premier race to go down sometime around noon. And we're going to see these bikes go down. And the way it's playing out, Andrew Mauk is ahead of Tim Joyce by 100 and something points. But Tim has more overall race wins. So when we culminate the points here, Timmy will get the win as it stood right now because he has more overall wins. Andrew has more races in there by more points. If Andrew wins today, it comes down to tomorrow. Whoever wins tomorrow gets it. If Tim wins today, he walks away with the championship. So this is nail-biting stuff right now.
Nice. Oh, I'm so excited. Everybody, I'm not kidding, like everybody has just been in a buzz about it. Everybody is stoked. Everybody is really, really excited. I just showed your rad, beautiful video, your love letter.
I had very little to do with that. I just stood there and sucked my cheeks in and tried to look cool.
You did look very hungry, and then you also looked a little angry. It was very sexy. It was wonderful.
Swear I don't work in the dark.
And it was very dark.
It was so dark.
I was like, how do you see anything? That's why your bikes are all alloy.
Yes.
Because you can find them in the dark, in that dark bat cave that you must work in. So thank you so much, Kenny. Okay, I gotta kick you out of here. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
See you soon, Jackie Van Ham.
Formula 250 Grand Prix Novice Historic Production Heavyweight at pre-1940. You guys are up right now. Again, it's third and final call. Formula 250 Grand Prix Novice Historic Production Heavyweight at pre-1940. Again, third and final call. If you folks want to bring them on up, we'll send you out here shortly for your warm-up lap.
All right. So a good chat with my buddy Kenny Cummings. Like I was telling you just a minute ago, I met him over 15 years ago here at AHRMA Racing. We're still buddies to this day. He's a wonderful guy and has just had a hell of a race career out here and has literally turned it into a career because now that's all his entire business now is NYC Norton, which is the restoration and building of custom Norton motorcycles based out of obviously NYC, based out of New York City. So it's a dream come true for him. It's a dream come true for him to have this race here. So it's just dreams happening all over the place here today, here at the Barber Vintage Festival.
As the riders take to the track for their warm-up lap, here's how they're going to clear it up. Out on row number 1, it's 1D Steve DeCam, 9 Colton Roberts, C27 Mark Brown, and 301 Mark Hodo. Row number 2, it's 789 Charles Young, 600 Bob Demetrius, and M49 Thomas Hillard. Row number 3, it's 709 Joe Ackley, 715 David Hurst, 820 Mitchell Barnes, and 350 Doug Bowie. Row number 4, it's 76R Mark Merslow and 304 Kevin Dinsmore. For the 250 Grand Prix field presented by John and Candy Sneed. On row number 6, it's bike number 1B, David Roper, 294 John Scales, 903 Robert Brent Gashio, and 27X Ross Tuffy. Then row number 7, it's 950 Don Hollingsworth, 127 Robert Scudder, and 79R Craig White. Row number 8, it's 523 John Kern, 533 Hiroshima Murata, 787 James Pooler, and bike number 6 Bill Dora. Then row number 9 is bike number 19 Christopher Smargo. For the Novice Historic Production Heavyweight, presented by XL Storage on row number 11 and 75H, Herb Hay, 7S, Mitch Skaggs, 777, William Dokianos, and bike number 15G, Sean Gilmore. Then row number 12, it's 431, Dwayne Kulo, and G66, Mark Smithard. Then for the pre-1940, back on row number 14, it's 122, Alex McLean, 81, Ralph Wessel, 96X, Joseph Miller, and 35, Doc Batzler. And then rounding out your field on row number 15, that's bike number 27, Bino Rodi. That's the pre-1940 field presented by Norton Manx. So for the race number 3 for the Formula 250, which is sponsored by Southpaw Racing Services. Southpaw Racing Services team members include Carl Anderson, Chief Technical Consultant Colton Roberts, porting and engine modifications, and Brian Bradford, fabrication and exhaust, supplying engines and tuning to help riders win races, including recent Formula 1 125 champions Louis LeBlanc and Colton Roberts. Their specialty is Yamaha Vintage two-strokes. This class is primarily for 1972 and earlier air-cooled two-strokes, including singles up to 360 cc's and twins up to 250 cc's. Four-stroke singles and Honda 350/400 twins and four-cylinder four-strokes are also allowed. Single front disc brakes are allowed. In addition to the Hondas, machines typically competing are Japanese and European two-strokes and even include the Canadian marquee Can-Am. For the 250 Grand Prix, sponsored by Candy and John Sneed, this class is for 1968 and earlier machines, including 250 four-stroke, 250cc air-cooled two-stroke singles, 175cc liquid-cooled two-stroke singles, and 175cc air-cooled two-stroke twins. This includes purpose-built race bikes and converted production and off-road bikes. For the Novice Production Heavyweight, sponsored by XL Storage and Herb High, XL Storage is in St. Petersburg, Florida. It is not only an extra home for your two or even four-wheel toys, but it's a great community to hang out in. Ride on down and say hi to Herb on 175, Pam, and Miss Gracie. This class is open to production street machines built up to the 1978 model year, as determined by the frame and major component parts and like design. Machines must use original unmodified OEM frames, swing arms, forks, and handlebar mounts. 1978 and earlier street machines and very close to standard production trim. Minimal modifications make this an inexpensive entry-level class, which is also intended for novice-level riders. The heavyweight class is for four strokes up to 750 cc's and 350 to 500 cc two-strokes. And finally, the pre-1940 Grand Prix class, sponsored by Norton Manx Racing and Rob McKeever. Bob McKeever, also known as Champagne Bob, raced at Daytona in 1948 and was heavily involved in vintage racing for many years. Sadly, he passed away in January of 2017 at the age of 97. Bob founded Champagne Bob Racing, which has evolved into Norton Manx Racing and carries on Bob's passion. Bob's son, Rob McKeever, is the team's manager and continues the race program. The Norton Manx Racing racers are Alex McLean and his wife, Cindy. This class is intended for 1940 and earlier GP and modified street machines up to and including 500cc overhead valve and overhead cam configurations, or 750cc side valve machines. Like design models are also permitted. All major components must be OEM parts that existed prior to 1941 or are accurate detailed replicas of the same parts using the same types of materials and technology. That is the information here for race number 3. Formula 250, 250 Grand Prix, Novice Historic Production Heavyweight, and pre-1940, as the bikes are gridded up, waiting for the green flag to fly here in just a moment.
Somebody's bump starting a machine, it looks like.
Yeah, they're on row number 2. That would be 781 Charles Young, who is now pulling off the track.
Well, they said he's got to go. Time's up.
Actually, no. 709, Joe Ackley. He was in row number 3.
Well, hopefully they can give him a little push and get him started.
Well, that's what they said in the riders meeting. You get basically one chance. If you can't get it going, they'll open up the gate and you go back to the pits.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, there's just too many bites, too many bodies.
Yeah.
There's too much stuff going on. This race is always, this weekend is always so crazy because it's just such a special place. The park is so beautiful. Everybody wants to come race here. And I mean, everybody wants to come race here.
Oh, yeah.
Over 600 people racing today.
As the green flag waves, bike number 1, Steve DeCamp, gets a good start, but can't quite get into second gear. Looks like he missed a gear as the field sweeps around. I couldn't tell if it was Mark Hodel or Mark Brown. swept around the outside from that front row, leading the field down into turn number 1. Everybody away in the first wave cleanly, looking back up towards the start finish line, waiting for the next wave to go as another bike refuses to start. Meanwhile, wave number 1 all working themselves single file up over the crest of the hill in turn number 4, down into turn number 5 over in Charlottesville. It looks like that's bike number 1, Steve Camp, I think, up there in that second place position. Can't quite make out who's running out there in first, but a 3-rider breakaway battle as that trio rockets up over the crest of the hill over to turn number 6, down that back straightaway towards turn number 7, 8, and rather 8, 9, and 10 over by the museums. We'll get the full running order here for you in just a moment as the second wave cleanly away, now the third wave cleanly away as they work their way down this front straightaway down into turn number 1.
See anybody on that?
They get one chance to get the bikes restarted and they'll put them in.
See if you can see anybody on the back side of the track yet.
Here they
And
come.
here they come. Mr. J says they're making their way back down. There they are.
The lead trio working their way out of turn number 12 up over the crest of the hill over to 13, 14, and 15, waiting for them to come back around onto the start finish line here in just a moment. As we said, it was a 3-rider breakaway. Waiting to see how it's all going to shape up as they're through turn number 16 into 17 onto the front straightaway in just a moment. And here comes the field thundering out of that final turn at the line. It is going to be 9 Colton Roberts, 600 Bob Demetrius, and C27 Mark Brown. Then bike number 1 Steve DeCamp back there in 4th, and 304 Kevin Dinsmore rounding out your top 5. So Roberts, Demetrius, and Brown battling each other hard for that top step on the podium after lap number 1 is complete. Working their way out of turn number 2 up the hill over into turn number 3. Here comes that trio. All of them tucked in behind the fairing, working. They're trying to work the draft. Looks like Demetrius now down heavy onto the brakes, into the braking zone. So put bike number 600, Bob Demetrius, up on the top step as he works his way around bike number 9, Colton Roberts, with bike number C27, Mark Brown, watching it all unfold in front of him as that trio tucks in behind their fairings, once again rowing up through the gearbox and rocketing down that back straightaway as they disappear out of sight over in turns 8, 9, and 10 one more time over by the museum. Guys are having a great battle out there.
Heck yeah.
Demetrius definitely outbraked Roberts down into turn number 5.
Yeah, they all were charging straight for it. Bye, buddy. Alrighty, let's see what's going on out here.
Looks like race leaders starting to spread out just a little bit as everybody's finding their rhythm. I believe it's 600 Bob Demetrius out front of Colton Roberts, but we'll confirm that as that trio works their way over through turns number 14, 15, and 16. Looking on through the rest of the field, back in 6th after that first lap, it was 19, Christopher Spargo, then 301, Mark Hodel back in 7th, 1B, David Roper leading for the 250 Grand Prix. He's back there in 8th with 350, Doug Bowie right behind him. Then it's going to be bike number 127, Robin Scudder, rounding out your top 10. And so out as the lead riders, bike number 600, Bob Demetrius, still is out front. Bike number 9, Colton Roberts, looks like he closed in a little bit of them, still about 4 to 6 bike lengths adrift as that duo working their way down into turn number 1 with bike number C27, Mark Brown, solidly back there in 3rd. So it's a 2-rider battle as they work their way up out of turn number 3 over the crest of the hill. Looks like Colton Roberts got a great drive out of 2 over into 3, so he worked himself back up onto the top step of the podium with Demetrius right there behind him as they work their way out of 5 through turn number 6 down that back straightaway. One more time, looks like Demetrius trying to work the draft on Roberts, about 2 bike lengths adrift as they're pretty much nose to tail down at the braking zone for turn number 8, 9, and 10 one more time. race leaders one more time across the line. Bike number 9, Colton Roberts, still holding on to the slimmest advantages of bike number 600, Bob Demetrius, then C27, Mark Brown, holding on to that third place position as Colton Roberts now trying to do what he can to check out, but Demetrius holding on to the toe of Colton as that duo rides out of turn number 2 up over the hill into turn number 3. Looks like Demetrius held the lead for a little bit out of 2 over into 3, but Colton Roberts repays the favor and dives back down under the brakes under Demetrius, and Roberts runs a bit wide, opens the door for Demetrius. They're side by side up over the crest of the hill, over by the timing and scoring tower. These two are having an epic battle out there, and they haven't even made halfway yet. Halfway is coming up next time by as they're working their way through some of the lap traffic. We're going to see how that's all going to unfold here as the second half of the race is coming up, as Colton Roberts leads Bob Demetrius by the slimmest of advantages as they dive down over to turn number 9 and 10 over by the museum. Waiting for him to come back up the hill here. We'll see who's got the lead as they are starting to work through some of the lap traffic. We'll see if that's going to be any bit of a factor. It looks like out of turn number 10 over to 11 into 12, Colton Roberts has a little bit of breathing room, about 4 bike lengths ahead of Demetrius, but Demetrius is able to close back up once again on the brakes as they work their way over through turns number 14, 15, and 16 on the back side of the track. These guys are hammering on each other. It's a great race.
Yeah, that's some great racing. Yeah, he must have some really, really good gloves on, because I'm pretty sure he's just holding on to the leader's exhaust.
Race leader, bike number 9, Colton Roberts, holds about a 10 bike length advantage, maybe more, 8 bike lengths that time, but Bob Demetrius once again closes in on the brakes as they dive down into turn number 2. Looks like they got a free and clear track ahead of them for a couple of turns. Then C27, Mark Brown still back there in that third place position. 1D, Steve DeCamp in 4th, and bike number 19, Christopher Spargo, round out your top 5.
Let's go check race monitor.
Looks like 19, Christopher Spargo, leading for the 250 Grand Prix field over bike number 1B, David Roper, and then looks going on down through the field. Can't quite tell it is, as we got one rider off over. Can't quite tell which turn it is. Looks like the rider's up, and okay, good. We'll get the number here for you in just a moment. I think he's over an 8. Yeah. It's not a race leader, which is good.
I don't see any yellow flags going. Did somebody just run wide?
No, he's down over 8 over there. 9. That's the museum turn. I'm pretty sure that's the museum turn. That might be back over in this area. I'm almost positive that's over by the museum. That's good as that must be.
Everybody's charging down towards that Charlotte's Web right now. Look at this pack, this huge tangle of people just heading that way.
Race leader, bike number 9, Colton Roberts, still holding on to the slimmest of advantages over bike number 600, Bob Demetrius, but they are going to encounter some lap traffic this next lap by. Then C27, Mark Brown, still holding on to that third place position as everybody having seen halfway. Whatever happens now, it will be a race as Colton Roberts really turned up the heat that last lap. Holds about a 15th bike length advantage over bike number 600, Bob Demetrius. I'm not sure if Demetrius might have gotten checked up by some of the slower riders. That gave bike number 9, Colton Roberts, the break that he was looking for, and as he has capitalized on it, again, as he holds about a 20 to 25 bike length advantage as they work their way down that back straightaway one more time. As I said, I know they're going to come up on some heavier traffic, so it might Bob Demetrius might get a break that he's looking for, or it might go the other way as the race leaders still working their way over through the museum turns. Bike number 1D, Steve DeCamp, still back there in 4th, with bike number 19, Christopher Spargo, still rounding out your top 5.
Yeah, you never know how that's going to go when you start running into lap traffic out there. It could either create a little window for you, or it could shut down all of your hopes and dreams all at the same time.
Yeah. Attention in the paddock. Results for races 1 and 2 are posted. Again, results for races 1 and 2 have been posted. Out on the track, bike number 9, Colton Roberts continues to lead. Looks like bike number 600, Bob Demetrius, dropping back just a little further as Roberts got checked up a little bit by some lap riders, but now he's got 2 slower riders between him and Demetrius. So we'll see if Bob Demetrius is going to be able to get around those guys to reel in Colton Roberts, as Colton Roberts on number 9 cleanly out of turn number 3 up over the crest of the hill down into Charlotte's Web. Looks like Bob Demetrius on 600 gets around 2 of them. Still has 1 more to get around, as Colton Roberts definitely has a clear track in front of him as he's really turning up here in the closing laps of this race. C27, Mark Brown still back there in 3rd with Steve DeCamp on 1D in 4th, and 19, Christopher Spargo rounding out your top 5. 304, Kevin Dinsmore's back there in 6th. 1B, David Roper back in 7th. 350, Doug Bowie back there in that 8th position overall. Then it's going to be 301, Mark Hodel, and 79R, Greg White. That rounds out your top 10, as Colton Roberts should be seeing a white flag next time by. Attention in the paddock. Let's go first call. First call for race number 4. Battle of the Twins 1 and Sound of Singles 1. Again, first call. First call for race number 4. Battle of the Twins 1 and Sound of Singles 1. First call for race number 4. First call.
Yep.
Colton Roberts kind of mired in traffic as he sees the white flag, and here comes 600 Bob Demetrius thundering down the front straightaway. I'm not sure if Demetrius is going to be able to reel in Colton Roberts, as Roberts tentatively picks his way through the slower riders as the white flag flies on this race, letting them know this is their final lap. Looking back towards turn number 3. Up over the crest of the hill into 4. It is going to be bike number 9, Colton Roberts, as he's worked his way around it. Then it's going to be bike number 600, Bob Demetrius. His turn to work his way through the slower riders as he dives down into that pack over there in turn number 5. Meanwhile, Colton Roberts gets a great drive out of 5. It's 4 wide at the exit of 5 over into 6 with Bob Demetrius getting through there cleanly, but Colton Roberts has already checked out down into turn number 8 and 9, and we have another Crimson Adventure as we have a bike in the middle of the track. Looks like the rider's up and okay, which is good, but the bike is right over in the middle of the track over in the turns 12 and 13 area, so obviously an unsafe situation.
Alrighty, gang. Well, with that red flag, this race is going to be finished. We were well past the halfway mark. Everybody was fine, but the bike is still just laying in the middle of the track for some reason. Maybe it's just too heavy to pick up. I'm not really sure, but there's a bunch of people headed over there to go check it out. So, but the racer is fine. That's why I'm laughing, because the racer is fine. He's standing up next to it, so everyone's okay.
Yeah, safety of our corner workers is paramount here, and the last thing that they've always been instructed to do is never run out onto a hot racetrack to pick
Yeah,
up
you're
that
not wrong,
motorcycle.
because actually there's a ton of bikes.
Yeah.
It's in a really tricky corner. Again, I would love to show you the footage, but unfortunately due to insurance issues, the Barber folks won't let me show the footage. But anywho, it's right coming out of like a blind uphill turn, and so, you know, you're right. I guess they have to kind of wait and just get the bike stopped, and then they can go out and pick it up. That's the much smarter move. But with that is going to be the completion of this race. So, we're at race number 4, Battle of the Twins.
Yeah.
1. I'm ready. So let's go ahead and re-rack these graphics.
Attention out there in the paddock. Let's go second call. Second call for Battle of the Twins 1 and Sound of Singles 1. Race number 4. You folks will be up in just a moment. It is first call. First call for, or second call rather. Second call, race number 4. Battle of the Twins 1 and Sound of Singles 1. Second call, race number 4. Second call.
Control to Tommy.
Is this Battle of Twins open?
Tommy,
Yeah.
go. 350 calls to Kristen.
Alrighty.
Tommy, 350.
While we have a moment, we want to join BMW Motorrad in cheering on Nate Kern Racing as Nate Kern competes in today's Battle of the Twins, Sound of Thunder 1 and Sound of Thunder 2 on his R9T. BMW Motorrad, make life a ride.
Do we do this?
Just I'm waiting to see what we've got going on here with what's going on out there. I don't think we've got any cleanouts. We're on 3. Pulling back here. We're on second rather.
And I'd like to take a moment and just speak to some of our awesome sponsors and partners here at AHRMA, including Bridgestone Motorcycle Tires is the title sponsor of the 2021 AHRMA National Historic Cup Road Racing Series. The Battle Axe Classic Racing CR11 tire is optimized for vintage racing to give riders consistent grip in both wet and dry conditions, as well as offering quick warm-up times without the need for tire warmers. Bridgestone is committed to be a leader in motorcycle racing. Offering a full range of tires, Bridgestone invites you to stop by their tent in the paddock today.
Attention out in the paddock, let's go third call. Third and final call for Battle of the Twins 1 and Sound of Singles 1. You folks are up right now. We've got everything taken care of out there. Again, it's third call. Third and final call for Battle of the Twins 1. Race number 4, Battle of the Twins 1 and Sound of Singles 1. You guys are up right now. Third call for race number 4, third call. Sorry about that.
We'd also like to take a moment and thank Haggerty Motorcycle. Haggerty is the home for all bike lovers, helping you take your passion to the next level with Haggerty Drivers Club. Motorsportreg.com, vehicle values, world-class motorcycle insurance, and more. Get started today at www.haggerty.com.
As the riders take to the track for their warm-up lap, here's how they're going to grid up. 35R Scott Billings, 111 Gary Orr, 553 Paul Canale, and bike number 14 Brian Laraber round out your field on row number 1. On row number 2, it's 9T Nate Kern, 411 James Derek Mayo, 181 Randy Sullinger. Row number 3, it's 46 Bob Robbins, 796 Paul Vance, 033 Kevin Madigan, and 576 Christian Jensen. Row number 4 rather, it's 901 Sean Vees, 878 Peter Kotsakis, and the bike number 127 or 127B Jacob Carter. Then bike number 9R Alfredo Becca's on row number 5, as is 509 Robert Cole, 45C Carl Cohen, and 221C Benedetto Cardella. And then on row number 6, it's 4X Kevin Kolick. The Sound of Singles field, or Sound of Singles 1 field, back on row number 8, it's 97X Kevin Grimmel, 57 Kevin Brown, 53 Mike Robinson, and 19T Paul Tuckley. Then on row number 9, it's 2X Tim O'Connor, 602 Christopher Mock, and 88 Charles Miller. And then row number 10, it's 73B Blake Wilson. That is your field here for race number 4, Battle of the Twins 1 and Sound of Singles 2. For the Battle of the Twins 1, 905 cc's and up. That's sponsored by Fast by Faraci. The Battle of Twins is presented by Fast by Faraci Racing Products, the legendary 2-time Ducati World Superbike and 2-time ANA Superbike Championship winning team brings you the same passion it took to win in its current range of products. Offering the highest quality race-proven performance parts and products to enthusiasts worldwide for over 40 years. When you order from Faraci.com, you know it's personally backed by Geraldo Faraci himself. Be sure and keep an eye on Ducati's return to Moto America for 2021 and their Superbike program with Araldo Ferracci as the team manager. Visit Ferracci.com. Battle of the Twins 1 is open to all air-cooled twins 905cc and up. The air-cooled bikes have been obsoleted by new technology, but remain a favorite of builders, racers, and fans, and AHRMA has made a home for them here. On track, you'll see Ducatis, Moto Guzzi's, and Buells. For the sound of Singles 1, unlimited displacement single-cylinder 4-strokes, modern singles, and anything goes attitude. This is a platform where ingenuity and engineering shine. That's your field here for race number 4. Oh, you want to do an interview?
I'll just do it real quick because we got to get ready.
I've got special guest up in the booth right now, Mr. Peter Essef. What's going on, my friend?
Well, we're here at Barber
Sidecar racing
Motorsports Park.
extraordinaire.
Beautiful weather. Fans are out in numbers. Last couple of years was a little bit of a challenge, but this is amazing.
This is amazing. You're right. 2 years ago, it was 105 degrees here. Were you racing that weekend?
Absolutely. I was here that weekend too.
I'm not going to lie. I was hiding in the museum the whole time,
Yeah.
but it was very, very warm. But I keep seeing you out here the past several big Moto Classic festivals that we've had, and you are just crushing it out there in the sidecar class. Are you having a heck of a good time?
Well, the sidecar class is growing. We're really proud of the group of people that come out and support this, but AHRMA's been great to us. I don't want to take up too much of your time before the start of this race, but I just wanted to come by and thank everybody from AHRMA. Obviously, Barber Motorsports Park is one of the fan favorites and racers' favorites, so we're really proud to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for stopping by and saying, hey, we appreciate you. Have a great race today. We're looking forward to it.
It's nice to meet you.
Nice
Race
to
8,
meet you.
right before lunch, so spectators, get your food and get out.
Let's go back down to the track. Thank you. Alrighty, and this race is underway. Everybody's out. The folks are starting to make their way through Charlotte Webb. All the leaders are out on the track. Obviously, let's go to that big wide shot. You can see everybody making their way down the backside of the track. This is race number 4. This is the Battle of the Twins Open, 905cc and above, sponsored by Fast by Ferracci and Sound of Singles 1. Welcome back, Mr. J.
Thank you. I had to take a moment.
I don't blame you. Take all the moments, my friend. Alrighty, let's go show this guy again. There should be some folks, headed that way. So we've got everybody over on the far side, and they're making their way down the front straight right now. And this is going to be just a blistering flat fast.
Race leaders out of turn number 17 out front. It's bike number 19, Nate Kern, who's out there sponsored by BMW out there on his R9T.
Yeah.
Then it's going to be 181, Randy Solinger back there in second, and 111, Gary Orr rounding out your top 3. 553, Paul Canale back there in that 4th place position, and 46, Bob Robbins rounding out your top 5. Back in that 6th place position is bike number 14, Brian Larabur. Then 7th is 35R, Scott Billings. 8th overall at the moment is bike number 45C, Carl Cohen. 9th at the moment is 796, Paul Vance, and bike number 033, Kevin Madigan. Rounding out your top 10 is bike number 19, Nate Kern, setting out a blistering pace on that first lap. Still being chased down by 181, Randy Solinger, and 111, Gary Orr.
Oof, Nate Kern absolutely smoking out here, but very, very fast. powered by BMW Motorrad. He has raced that R9T for multiple years. Kind of an interesting story. I know Nate. I've known Nate for many years, and we're both BMW lovers. When the R9T came out, he was really hell-bent on purposely building a race bike out of to come racing just to show BMW that this cafe racer that they made actually put out, you know, killer power.
Yeah.
And now it's just a great weapon. Gary Orr races and was totally just smoking hot R9T as well. So just a really neat platform. Nate races with frequency. You know, he's all over America all the time, running super fast laps. So awesome to see him back out here, speaking it up.
Race leader 19, Nate Kern, about a half a front straightaway lead over second place rider 181, Randy Sullinger, with bike number 111, Gary Orr, right there stalking Sullinger. So the battle is on for second place between Sullinger and Orr. That's 553, Paul Canale, and bike number 14, Brian Laraber, rounding out your top five, rather. As we look over towards turn number 3 over the crest of the hill into 4, down into 5, Nate Kern continues to slide, so have a blistering pace as he is sliding the rear tire of that big BMW down into the braking zone for turn number 5. Then it's going to be bike number 181, Randy Sullinger, still holding on to Slim's advantages over Gary Orr, as Orr down behind this ferry trying to pick up the draft of Sullinger as that duo rockets down that back straightaway over towards the museum turns. Looking on back through the field, 46, Bob Robbins still back there in 6th, 35R, Scott Billings in 7th, 45C, Carl Cohen in 8th, 796 Paul Vance in 9th, and 033 Kevin Madigan still rounding out your top 10 as bike number 19, Nate Kern, out from the backstretch there up through turns number 11, 12, over into 13 of the lead. Meanwhile, Orr has managed to reel in a little bit and pull up right on the tail section of Sullinger as those two are pretty much nose to tail over
Let's
to
check
turns
out
number
that race
12,
monitor.
13, over out of view over into 14 and 15. Waiting for the race leader, bike number 9T, Nate Kern, to come back around on the front straightaway here in just a moment. And here comes your race leader on that big BMW, solidly in the lead, a full front straightaway lead over the battle here for second. Who's it going to be at the line for second? Looks like Sullinger still holding on to the slimmest of advantages as he's got company with 111, Gary Orr. Orr determined to put himself up one step higher on the podium as Nate Kern trying to check out on the rest of the field. Here comes Kern out of turn number 3 up over the crest of the hill, down into the braking zone one more time. He's a little bit better that time. The bike back into the bike, not sliding quite around as it was last time. Here's the battle for second is Orr right there on the tail section of Sullinger as they dive. Oh, and it looks like, I believe it was Sullinger, loses the front end over into Charlotte's Web. Tough break. I believe that was 181. Randy Sullinger crashing out of second place. It looks like he's up and all right. Obviously not happy about that move as put bike number 111, Gary Orr, up on the second step of the podium, and that moves bike number 553, Paul Canale, up to third as Kern continues to set a blistering pace. Halfway flag should be coming out next time by as a dejected bike number 181, Randy Sullivan, just has to walk across the gravel traps as unfortunately he loses the front end over in turn number 5, but good to see that he's up and okay.
What a disappointing moment for Sullinger. He just was pushing a tiny bit too hard. Again, in that notorious hairpin Charlotte's Web corner over there. I was just actually getting ready, moments before that happened, I was getting ready to say, you know, this is a game of chess, not checkers for Gary Orr, that he was flat out stalking and pushing from behind, and we saw what happened. Sullinger had to overstretch himself a little bit more than he wanted to, and that's the result from it. But he's fine. He got up. He's walking away. They're pushing the bike off the track. Everybody is A-okay.
Green and white flags out for your race leader, bike number 19, Nate Kern, as he starts the second half of his race with 111, Gary Orr back there in second, and 553, Paul Canale in third. Then it's 14, Brian Laraborough back in fourth, and 35R, Scott Billings, rounding out your top 5. 46, Bob Robbins still holding on that 6th place position. 45C, Carl Cohen still back there in 7th. 796, Paul Vance up into 8th. 4X, Kevin Kolick moving himself up into that 9th position overall with bike number 033, Kevin Madigan, still rounding out your top 10 as the rest of the field streams by, seeing halfway. Surprised we haven't had our sound of singles riders coming up in the battle of the twins on the leaderboard yet.
Not yet, but we're only halfway through. Jay was just commenting that he's surprised that nobody from Sound of Singles has pushed themselves up into the back end of the Battle of the Twins class, and I said, you know, it's only halfway. We still got plenty of time for these folks to start picking off some of those Battle of the Twins racers in the Sound of Singles 1 class.
Attention out there in the field. Legendary racer Mary McGee is signing autographs right now over at the Barber Museum. You can stop there and talk with Mary McGee. Maybe pick yourself up a special commemorative hat that are available for purchase over in the museum store. Again, Mary McGee signing autographs right now over at the Barber Museum. Forgot that was supposed to happen at 11. Oops. Oh, wait. My apologies, I'm an hour early. It's 10 o'clock. Mary McGee in 1 hour will be signing autographs over at the Barber Museum. My apologies, in 1 hour, Mary McGee will be signing autographs over at the Barber Museum. Ay. Okay.
It looks like everybody has settled in to their current positions. Nate Kern still with that sizable lead out there. Let's go take a gander at Race Monitor real quick to see some timing. Nate Kern in 1, Gary Orr 2, Paul Canale 3, Brian Laraber 4, Scott Billings 5. And that's going to be your top 5 for this Battle of the Twins Open class, powered by Fast by Faraci.
Race leader, bike number 19, Nate Kern, once again across the start-finish line. A full front straightaway lead over second place rider. Looks like that's going to be bike number 111, Gary Orr. He's solidly out there in second, then about the same distance back to that third place position. It's going to be bike number 553, Paul Canale, actually over a full front straightaway lead as the rider that just crossed the start-finish line was down a lap. Here comes your third place rider, bike number 553. Actually, it's 14, Brian Laraber. He got the better of his battle, turning it on late here in the race, so move Brian Laraber up to that third step of the podium. That means 553, Paul Canale back there in fourth, and 35R, Scott Billings rounding out your top 5. White flag should be coming out this next time by for 9T. That would be Nate Kern as he put his head down at the beginning of this one, has tried to check out on the field and done so with 111 Gary Orr and 14 Brian Laraber back there rounding out your top 3.
I was actually going to go try to track down Mr. Nate Kern and see if he wanted to come up here and come talk to us.
That'd be another one. Did you get a chance to talk to Mr. Essef?
Yes, very quickly. I thanked him for his incredible racing in the sidecar class. Always a pleasure to watch. Always exciting racing going on.
White flag out for your race leader, bike number 19, Nate Kern, starting his final lap. Let's go first call. First call for race number 5. Classic 60s 650, Classic 60s 250 Grand Prix, and 2-stroke Classic 350 GP and 2-stroke Classic 250 GP. Again, first call, race number 5, Classic 60s 650, Classic 60s 200 Grand Prix, 2-stroke Classic 350 GP, and 2-stroke Classic 250 GP. First call for race number 5. Looks like bike number 111, Gary Orr, still holding on to that second place position. Bike number 14, Brian Laraber, holding on to third with bike number 553, Paul Canale back there in fourth. We're going to see if Laraber is going to be able to hold on to that podium step. As bike number 35R, Scott Billings continues to hold or round out the top 5 here, and an exciting final lap of race number 4. I think that's the battle for third over there past the tower, I think. I don't know if you got a camera on that over there or not.
wide shot so we can kind of see the backside of the track on the other side of the buffalo sculptures over there.
Yeah, that's one thing about this park. They've got beautiful sculptures all throughout the park.
Checks are out.
Checkered flag out for your unofficial race winner, bike number 19, Nate Curtis. He makes it look easy, taking the unofficial win here in race number 4 for Battle of the Twins 1. Looks like second place rider is going to be bike number 111, Gary Orr, as he takes home the unofficial second. Waiting for that third place rider to come across the line, waiting to see who it's going to be as they're working their way back through the back section of the course through turns 14, 15, and 16 right now. At the line, it's bike number 14, Brian Laraborough, taking the unofficial third. Let's go second call. Second call, race number 5, Classic 60s 650, Classic 60s 200 Grand Prix, 2-stroke Classic 350, and 2-stroke Classic 250. You folks are up here in just a moment. It is second call. Second call for race number 5, Classic 60s 650, Classic 60s 200 Grand Prix, 2-stroke Classic 350, and 2-stroke Classic 250. Second call, race number 5, second call.
Alrighty, and let's go grab the graphics for the next race.
Attention out there in the paddock. BMW Motorrad invites you to demo the full R18 lineup, including the new R18B and R18 Transcontinental, available all weekend long. Announce the control. Announce to control.
Go ahead.
Do we have any pickups, or am I just waiting on the back-to-back?
We're picking up a piece of debris and more as soon as we see it picked up, and take the post.
Copy that, thank you.
One for a scrub line. Be scrub, stand by scrub. Piece number 5, 8 laps, 2 waves. And 4 more. 4 more, sorry.
Alrighty.
Attention out there in the paddock. Let's go third call. Third and final call for our next race. Race number 5, Classic 60s 650, Classic 60s presented by John and Candy Sneed, 200 Grand Prix presented by Kincaid Legacy, 2-stroke Classic 350, and 2-stroke Classic 250. You folks are up right now if you want to bring them on up. Again, it's third call, third and final call for Classic 60 650 and the Classic 60 presented by John and Candy Sneed, the 200 Grand Prix Plus presented by Kincaid Legacy, 2-stroke Classic 350 GP, and 2-stroke Classic 250 GP. If you guys want to bring them on up, again, this is your third call, third and final call for race number 5.
Alrighty, and race number 5, this is the Classic 60 650. This is co-sponsored by Candy and John Sneed and Von Snipper.
Yeah.
Mr. G.T. Greg Tomlinson himself is one of the co-sponsors for this class. Our good buddy GT, who is a hoot, who has joined us in the booth on multiple occasions. Man, that guy loves to talk. Luckily, he is very amusing and has great stories to tell. So that is who is sponsoring also this Classic 60s 650. And who's on the grids, Mr. J?
Out there on the grids as the riders take the warm-up lap. Here's how they're going to grid up. On row number 1, it's going to be bike number 1M, Mike Baker, 864, John Rickard. Bike number 5, Greg Tomlinson, and bike number 59C, Bill Gould. Row number 2, it's 588, Jake Hall, 731, Stan Keys, and C73, David Kaufman, and 391, David Spanjar. For the Classic 60s, back on row number 5 at 623, Patrick McGraw, 33Q, David Tompkins, 338, Andy Feinling, and bike number 9A, John Sneed. For the 200 Grand Prix class, presented by Kincaid Legacy, back on row number 7 at 784, Kristen Acaden, 270, Rob Hall, and 294, John Scales with 820, Mitchell Barnes, also in row number 7. Row number 8 is bike number 19, Christopher Spargo, 220, Tim Terrell, and bike number 6, Bill Doran. Row number 9 is 215, Stuart Sanders, 176, Tony Reed, 950, Don Hollingsworth, and 35L, Jack Caines. Row number 10 is bike number 022, Cindy McLean, 805, Grayson Rogers, and 88, Charles Miller. Row number 11 is 49L, Lex Robb, 049, Danny Habermel, and 842, Tom Sanders, with bike number 02, John Hollingsworth. Row number 12 is 13K, Rod Skaggs, 171, Chris Marlowe, and 533, Hiroshima Murata. Row number 13, it's 893, Tyson Fritz, 21X, Larry Poon, 07, Mike Miranda, and 27X, Ross Tuffy, with bike number 787, James Pooler, and 357, Joe Corey, rounding out the field there in row number 14. For the two-stroke Classic 350 GP, the lone entry on row number 16 is 417, Michael Perry, and for the two-stroke Classic 250 GP, the lone entry is bike number 516, Sakis Vasilopoulos. That is your field here for race number 5. The Classic 60 650 co-sponsored by Candy and John Sneed and Von Zipper. Von Zipper offers premium sunglasses and goggles founded by fellow AHRMA racer. The Von Zipper experience is a sweet spot between optimism and individualism. It's a sunny place where you can be anyone you want to be and celebrate anything you want to do. Check them out at vonzipper.com. Born in Southern California, Von Zipper has been handcrafting premium eyewear for freethinkers and outsiders since 2000. Focusing on amazing products and good times that come with it, Von Zipper inspires self-expression with a shared confidence in being different, encouraging people to see the world through the VZ lens. They are all about the fun. For the Classic 60 650, these are 1950 and 60s era 650 overhead valve and 883 side valve, aka flathead machines. This class runs with but is scored separately from the Classic 60s. Popular models include BSA and Triumph 650s and the Harley K model. For the Classic 60s, sponsored by Candy and John Sneed, these are also 1950 and 60 era Grand Prix and Clubman style racers. These are 350 or 500cc 4-stroke overhead valve and overhead cam design engines, along with 750cc side valve machines, similar to models as the 500 GP and 500 Premier machines, but in a more original trim. Maximum 4-speed gearboxes are allowed. Norton-mounted Alex McLean has been the National and Dixie Cup champion for the past 6 seasons.
For the 200 Grand Prix Plus, sponsored by Kincaid Legacy Racing, this class combines a variety of engine designs and displacements based on an index of performance. This class is for 1968 and earlier machines, including 250 4-stroke singles, 250 air-cooled 2-stroke singles, 175 air-cooled 4-stroke twins, 175 air-cooled 2-stroke singles and twins. Includes purpose-built race bikes and converted production road and off-road bikes. Bump-up class is the 250 Grand Prix. Greg Levicki and the Lost Boys Racing out of Cincinnati claimed the 2020 AHRMA National Championship. This class also is the home to an awful lot of our CB160 racers. CB160 class is an exhibition class. This is where they're going to championship for points. 2-stroke Classic 350 Grand Prix. This class showcases 1974 to 1984 era purpose-built 350cc liquid-cooled Grand Prix race bikes. 2-stroke Classic 250 Grand Prix. This class showcases 1974 to 1984 purpose-built 250cc liquid-cooled Grand Prix race bikes. That is your details for race number 5 here at the 16th Annual Barber Vintage Festival.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was getting so tongue-tied with Von Zipper. You gotta find out
Well,
what's
my BMW bosses are here, so I want them to hear me.
That's
I
fine.
saw them all just show up. I wanted to give them a little love. Alrighty, let's take a gander.
As the green flag waves, looks like it is bike number 588 back on that second row, getting a great start as that Classic 60s and Classic 60s 650 field thunder down the front straightaway through turn number 1. Looks like everybody through cleanly through there. Then it's going to be our second wave starting the rest of the field as the 250 plus or the 200 plus Grand Prix field gets going along with the two-stroke Classic 350 and two-stroke Classic 250 field. Meanwhile, race leaders for the Classic 60s and 650, they're already out of turn number 3 up over the crest of the hill and down into the braking zone for turn number 5, trying to figure out who's going to lead and who's going to follow as everybody pretty much single file through there. Some late passing going at the exit of 5 as a two-rider breakaway leads the field down that back straightaway towards the museum turns. Announced to control. Are we doing lunch?
It looks like almost everybody's made their way through Charlotte Web. Let's go take a wide shot. See what's happening.
Race number 7, and it says it's scheduled to begin immediately following the lap for Luke Connor, which I thought was at launch.
That third track out there, that 1, 2, 3, third lane, that is heading directly towards the museum. In case you were wondering where we are all situated here, they're making their way over that way right now.
Race leaders up that back portion of the hill up towards turn number 13, 14, and 15. We'll get the full running order here for you in just a moment when they complete lap number 1. Want to remind everybody here in about 40 minutes at 11 o'clock this morning, our Grand Marshal, Mary McGee, is going to be signing autographs over at the Vintage Motorsports Museum. If you want to make your way over there in the next half hour, 40 minutes, you can get in line, get an autograph, and meet Mary McGee, which will be signing autographs over at the Barber Museum at 11 o'clock this morning.
I went to Motorcycles by Moonlight last night where she was the guest star.
How was that?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing.
Yeah, I bet that was
She
a
is
good time.
hilarious and has had just the most incredible life in motorsport, 2-wheel and 4-wheel. She started out racing cars.
Yeah.
A great speaker, very fun, awesome stories, great storytelling, good food. It is the largest fundraiser for the Barber Museum of the entire year. So it's always a great big huge turnout. Lots of people coming out. They have a silent auction. I left when the auction started because I didn't want to get tangled up with getting my wallet out. So I got out of there after dinner. But it was a really, really good time.
Out on the racetrack to complete lap number 1, it's 864, John Rickard leading the Classic 60 650 field. Then bike number 5, Greg Tomlinson, right back there in second. GT's up the second. Then bike number 1M, Mike Baker, rounding out your top 3 for the Classic 60s. 731 Stan Keys back there in 4th, and it looks like it's going to be 33Q. David Tompkins rounding out your top 5. Then 558 Jake Hall back there in 6th. Bike number 59C Bill Gould back in 7th. 9A John Sneed back in 8th. 270 Rob Hall in 9th. He's leading for the 200 Grand Prix class. And then bike number 338 Andy Feinlings rounds out your top 10 as John Rickard wastes no time trying to lead and break away from this field with Greg Tomlinson in tow as they're working their way around the track on lap number 2.
I was gonna say GT's got to be up there towards the front somewhere. He's pretty fast on that awesome Triumph of his. He's powered by Toad Town Racing, if I remember that correctly. Another fantastic racer here with us at AHRMA.
Looks like 864, John Rickard on that last lap, getting a great lead, about a full front straightaway lead over second place rider, bike number 5, Greg Tomlinson, who has his hands full with bike number 1M, Mike Baker, and 33, David Tompkins, all right there behind him, so a three-way battle shaping up for that third step of the podium. Then 270, Rob Hall rounding out your top 5 as race leader. 864, John Rickard over into turn number 5, and then it's going to be the rest of the field diving down into the braking zone for Charlotte's Web. Greg Tomlinson, Mike Baker, and David Tompkins with 270, Rob Hall, all working their way through turns number 5, 6, and over into 7 right now.
Let's go take a gander at some race monitor. For those of you following along on the feed, welcome, welcome. This is race number 5 of was it 16 races today? How many? Oh my
16 on the
gosh,
docket.
16 races today. We are at race 5. This is going to be your current scorecard for the folks that are racing Classic 60s 650, Classic 60s. There is a 200 GP Grand Prix class, which is also the bump class for the 160 folks. This is the two-stroke Classic 250 and 350 Grand Prix as well. All right, we've got a great big pack making their way around the back side of the track. They're going to be hitting turn 17 here in just a minute, making their way down the front straight.
805 is behind the wall.
Race leader, bike number 864, John Rickard, still showing the fast way around the track, waiting for him to come through turn number 17 one more time as he begins his next lap. Looks like 270, Rob Hall coming on strong there, holding on to that third place position as bike number 19, Christopher Spargo, and bike number 1M, Mike Baker, with bike number 5, Greg Tomlinson, dropping back some positions. Not sure if he's having any issues out there, but holding down the top 5 as he drops back quite a bit. 588, Jake Hall back in that 6th position with 33. David Tompkins dropping back even further. He's back there in 7th with 731. Stan Keys in 8th. Bike number 784, Christopher Caden in 9th, and bike number 59C, Bill Gould, rounding out your top 5. So it looks like bike number 784, Christopher Caden, he's still back there in 9th overall. He believes he's running second class. You got to go way up to that third place position. Bike number 19, Christopher Spargo, he's leading for the 200 Grand Prix, so quite a distance between first and second for the 200 Grand Prix field, as the white flag, or the halfway flag, should be coming out here next time by for your race leader 869, John Rickard, as he's definitely found his pace and continues to lead the field.
950 is behind the wall.
That's never a good sign.
What's going on out there? Oh,
Somebody FPGB. Yeah, he almost dropped it again.
so he had a little mechanical or something?
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah, they just ran wide, and I think they had a little breakdown or something, but no big
Halfway
deal.
flags
Everyone's
out the
fine.
race leader, bike number 270, Rob Hall, as he's worked his way up on the top 7 of the podium in front of 864 rather, John Rickard. But those guys are in different classes, so Rob Hall leading the field and the 200 Grand Prix class. Then it's 864, John Rickard there in second, still leading for the Classic 6650. Then it's going to be bike number 19, Christopher Spargo. He's running second. I had the running order here confused that last lap. He's running second in class, 3rd overall for the 200 Grand Prix field. Then it's going to be bike number 1M, Mike Baker, 4th overall, 3rd in class for the Classic 650s. And then bike number 5, Greg Tomlinson, rounding out your top 5. I believe he's still holding on to that 3rd step of the podium for the Classic 60s and 650. Then 33Q David Tompkins is back there in 6th with bike number 588, Jake Hall back in 7th. 784, Christopher Caden, and he's holding on that 8th place position. I believe he's 3rd on the podium for the 200 field. And then 731, Stan Keys back in 9th, and 176, Tony Reed, rounding out your top 10, as racers are now seeing halfway flags, letting them know they've got 4 done and 4 left to go in this race. field for the end for the 200 Grand Prix class. 864 John Rickard still back there in second, and 19 Christopher Spargo in third. Everybody's seeing halfway flag, so whatever happens now, this race would be official. Bike number 5, Greg Tomlinson's holding on to that fourth overall. He moved up to second in class, getting the better of his battle with bike number 1M, Mike Baker. So Baker rounds out your top 5. He's holding on to that third step of the podium for the Classic 6650. So Greg Tomlinson moving up a step here in the closing laps with 864. John Rickard still leading for the Classic 6650. Rob Hall leads for the 200 Grand Prix along with Christopher Spargo, and then bike number 784, Christopher Caden. He's rounding out your top 3 for the 200 class. White flag should be coming out next time for your race leader as he comes across the line one more time. 270 Rob Hall still leading on. Now it's going to be 19 Christopher Spargo has gotten around John Rickard. So it looks like Spargo trying to reel in Hall and make a challenge for that lead for the 200 Grand Prix field. 864 John Rickard still leading for the Classic 6650. Then this could be bike number 1M, Mike Baker, back there in fourth, as looks like bike number 5, Greg Tomlinson, drops back quite a ways again. So move Baker up onto that second step of the podium. Then it looks like it's going to be Jake Hall on 588 holding on to that third step. Evidently Mr. Tomlinson must have had a bit of a moment out there. Not sure if it was a moment or mechanical, as it's going to be 33 Q David Tompkins, 784 Christopher Caden, and then bike number 5 Greg Tomlinson all the way back there, and that 8th place position. Then 731 Stan Keys in 9th, and 357 Joe Corey rounding out your top 10. Looks like David Tompkins is out over in turn number 5.
Is that who ran wide?
That's who's down over here in Charlotte's Web.
Oh, yeah. Hold on a second, gang. Let's go check out Charlotte's Web action. She snagged another one. She snagged another tasty motorcycle in her web over there. Somebody ran a little wide.
I think that's David Tompkins. I'm not sure. White flag out for your race leader. Let them know they got one more lap to go. Let's go first call. First call for race number 6. The Bears race presented by John and Candy Steen. Open two-stroke presented by Tony Dukas Racing. The Motard race and the Next Gen Superbike medium weight presented by 4SR. You folks will be up here in just a moment. It's first call for race number 6. Bears open two-stroke Motard and Next Gen Superbike middleweight. First call, race number 6, first call. Rob Hall for the 200 Grand Prix class on bike number 270, still leading bike number 19, Christopher Spargo. And then it looks like it's going to be 784, Christopher Caden. That's your top 3 for the 200 field. Then it's going to be 864, John Rickard leading for the Classic 6650 with 588. Jake Hall moving up to that second step of the podium with bike number 1M, Mike Baer. Rounding out those top 3 with bike number 5, Greg Tomlinson coming on strong. Moves himself back up to 6th overall. Still within striking distance. We're going to see how that battle for third is going to shape up between those as the rest of the field sees the white flag, letting them know they're on their final lap. Checkered flag in hand for your unofficial race winner, bike number 270, Rob Hall, as he takes the unofficial win in his field. Let's go second call. Second call, race number 6, Bears, open two-stroke, Motard and Next Gen Superbike middleweight. You guys are up next. Second call for race number 6, Bears, open two-stroke, Motard and Next Gen Superbike middleweight. Second call for race number 6.
Alrighty, as we are winding down this exciting race 5.
We've got somebody slow over there too.
Go ahead and start pulling these graphics down.
As the rest of the field clears the track, we'd like to say BMW Motorrad welcomes you to the Barber Vintage Festival. Visit the Heritage Experience in the Fan Zone to see the full R18 lineup and custom R18s, including Roland Sands R18 Dragster. BMW Motorrad, make life a ride. So I'm going to push that aside.
Open two-stroke is race 6. Motard is race 6. Motard. Who else? Next gen Superbike middleweight. And bears. All right.
As we clear the track and have to go pick up a couple of mics out there on this race, we're holding on second call for the next race, race number 6. Want to let everybody know that if you have pre-ordered a race t-shirt through AHRMA, you can pick up those t-shirts down in the AHRMA merchandise booth. It is open right now down in the tech area. Again, for those who pre-purchased AHRMA t-shirts here in the Road Race Group, you want to move your way down to the paddock area. AHRMA merchandise booth is set up down there. Check out some of the apparel that they have for sale down at the AHRMA merchandise booth down here in the tech area. Also want to let everybody know that at 11 o'clock, Mary McGee will be signing autographs over at the museum, and then later on this afternoon during our lunch break at 12:15, she will be over here in the paddock area. Announce to control.
And hey there, Barber fans, just want to let you know that tonight in the Fan Zone, join John Elefante of Kansas is going to be performing, featuring 6 Wire. They will be performing over in the Fan Zone from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., located directly across from the lower swap meet. Again, that is John Elefante of the band Kansas, featuring 6 Wire. Is going to be performing in the Fan Zone tonight. That's tonight's concert. It's from 5 to 7 p.m. Have you did Parade Lap one?
No, but that's not so. I was gonna do that for lunch. You can do it if you like. The reason I didn't do it is because yesterday they said 4 and they actually had it 4:30, and they're probably gonna change it today because they have to wait till we're done and we're not sure when we're gonna be done.
right.
Attention out there in the paddock. Looks like we've got everything addressed out there. Well, let's go third call. Third and final call, race number 6. Bears, open two-stroke, motard, and next-gen superbike middleweight. You folks are up right now if you want to bring them on up. Again, it is third call, third and final call for race number 6. Bears, open two-stroke, motard, and next-gen superbike middleweight. Bring them on up. Third call, third and final call for race number 6.
And speaking of awesome things going on over in the fan zone area, don't forget that the Wall of Death, American Motordrome's Wall of Death, is a vintage live-action thrill show featuring a 30-foot diameter silo-shaped wooden cylinder known as a Motordrome. Inside the Motordrome, daredevils travel along the vertical wall performing trick, fancy, and acrobatic riding. Showtimes will take place throughout the entire weekend, so make sure you go and check it out. Again, that is the Wall of Death performing all weekend long here at the 16th Annual Barber Vintage Festival over in the Fan Zone area. They were right next door to the Globe of Death, who is hosted by the Urias family. Is proud to be performing in the original globe that was built by their great-grandfather almost 100 years ago. The Daredevil stunts are performed within the confines of a 16-foot diameter globe. Showtimes will also take place throughout the entire weekend, so make sure you stop by the Fan Zone to check out both the Wall of Death and the Globe of Death.
As the riders take to the track here for their warm-up lap in race number 6, here's how they're going to line up. For the Bears field, presented by Candy and John Sneed on... Sorry about that, got the wrong line. For the open two-stroke, presented by Tony Dukas Racing TDR on row number 1, it's going to be bike number 80, Ralph Starpoli, 117, David Krussel, 3Z, David Frick, and 25, Frank Schoenbeck. Row number 2, it's R73, Greg Levicki, 112, Adrian Jasso, and 917, Lorraine Krussel. Row number 3, it's 56, Stephen Gillen, 99X, Jonathan Schendel, 146, Paul Stamper, and 404, Jeff Hines. Row number 4 is 781, Paul Nelson, 491, Brian Surtees, and 251, Stuart Atkincade. Row number 5 is 925, Kerry Kress. Bike number 19, Christopher Spargo, and 329, Matthew Crabtree. And row number 5 is bike number 9, Colton Roberts. Row number 6 is 135, and Jeremy Scherer, 641, Craig Herco, and 139, David Wallace. For the Motard field, back on row number 8, it's 133, Paul Elledge, 21B, Andrew Berkeley, 43A, Stephen Alexander, and 785, Stephen Karatos. Row number 9 is 46X, Brian Rammer, 940, Ryan Rader, and 67M, Mark Perone. For the next-gen superbike middleweight presented by 4SR, back on row number 11, it's 02, Jonathan Hollingsworth, 32B, Harry Vanderland, and 204, Rick Petriolia, and bike number 224X, Bill Howard. Row number 12, it's 560X, Scott Wilson, 91, Sean Smith, and 3N, Jerry Nichols. Row number 13, it's 690, Bob Rebecco, 700, Cameron Crockett, 15G, Sean Gilmore, and 758, Sean Woolery. And then for the Bears field, presented by John and Candy Sneed, back on row number 15, it's 1S, Daniel May, 731, Stan Keys, 995, Patrick Hansen, and 75, Rolf Jansen. And then rounding out your field on row number 16, it's bike number 9A, that would be John Sneed. So for the open two-strokes, which is sponsored by Tony Dukas Racing, TDR, since 1973, Tony Dukas Racing has specialized in high-performance two-stroke parts and services, including TDR reeds, providing the latest engine, accessory, and exhaust design for Yamaha RZ350 stroker engines. Their dedicated R&D combined with dyno and race testing results in the best overall performance and reliability. TDR can provide RZ-based twin engines up to, get this, 1,200 cc's and even 3 and 4 cylinder versions for racing and recreation. They also build two-stroke street bikes using 600cc current 600cc sport bike chassis fitted with RZ-style engines. Visit tdrrz.com to learn more. For the open two-strokes, this is open to any two-stroke motorcycle. Unlimited on engine size or number of cylinders, frame types, cooling types, or model year. This is kind of a run what you brung. You'll see everything from home-built customs to purpose-built production race bikes to exotic late-model Grand Prix machines. Truly the ultimate showcase for two-stroke race bikes. For the Motard field, sponsored by Motool. Motool makes the bike setup and maintenance easy so you can focus on the fun. They invite you to check out the new Slacker V4 with Bluetooth WorkSmart. Play hard with Motool. Known as the Supermotard or Supermoto, competitors often race on smaller tracks that combine portions of dirt and/or pavement. In Motard, you'll see unlimited displacement 2- and 4-stroke singles, which are based on motocross or dual sport bikes with limited modifications for road racing. Motocross, off-road, and dual sport, and Motard-specific single-cylinder machines are seen out there. 2 strokes are liquid-cooled up to 500 cc. 2 strokes air-cooled are unlimited. 4-stroke liquid-cooled up to 500 cc, and 4-stroke air-cooled unlimited displacements are also out there. For the next gen Superbike Middleweight, sponsored by Jerry Nickel of 4SR Racing Suits, 4SR makes your track days better. All of their standard off-the-shelf 4SR leather suits are manufactured in exactly the same way as the suits produced for their 4SR factory riders. They have always used the same technology and process and materials for production and custom suits that ensures they are making the best quality riding gear available to everyone. They believe in producing the best possible garments for bikers and then work out the price afterwards, giving riders all over the world a genuine piece of riding kit with safety first. For the next gen Superbike Middleweight fields, this is a class showcasing what was raced in the late 80s through the early 90s. It's limited to period modifications. Some of the eligible machines that you're going to see out there are the Ducati Passo, the 750 Sport, and the 750 SS, all from Ducati, Honda CBR 600Fs and F2s, a Honda NSR 400s, Kawasaki GPZ 600R, and the 600 ZX 600 through E2. Also, you'll see Moto Guzzi Le Mans style 850s out there. Suzuki GSXR 600s are represented, as is the GSX 600, along with the Suzuki RG 500s and RG 400s. Yamaha brings out their FZR 400s and FZR 600s, and you might even see an RZ 500 out there from Yamaha. For the Bears, which stands for British, European, or American Racing Series, which is sponsored by John and Candy Sneed, this is 2-cylinder pushrod machines built up through 1968, competing under the Formula 750 specifications. The machines must be representative of race bikes of the era with fairings and lower clip-on style handlebars. Brands typically represented in this class are BMW, BSA, Harley-Davidson, Moto Guzzi, and Triumph. That's how the field stacks up here as the green flag waves. Looks like after lap number 1, it is 133 Paul Elledge out there leading for the Motard field with bike number 80, Roundstar Poli, back there in second for the open 2 strokes. Then it's 117 David Crussell holding on to second in class, 3rd overall for the open 2 strokes. Then 112 Adrian Jasso rounding out your top 3 for the open 2 strokes. Bike number R73 Greg Levnicki round out your top 5. 6th overall right now is 491 Brian Surtees, 781 Paul Nelson's back there at 7th, 99X Jonathan Schendel is an 8th, 25 Frank Schoenbeck in 9th, and bike number 9 Colton Roberts rounds out your top 10 as the race field already starting their second lap here of this 8-lap race.
We've got our first leaders coming across, start and finish, so let's go check out Race Monitor. Paul Elledge 1, Ralph Starpoli 2, David Crussell 3, Adrian Jasso 4, and Mr. Greg Levicki in 5. This is a great mix of bikes. This is like a little bit of everything out here.
Yeah, this is kind of, with the open 2 strokes are really fast bikes.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised that there's a Motard bike out front, but man, they're flying. Bike number 133, Paul Elledge, wastes no time in holding on to the lead with bike number 80, Roundstar Poli behind him. So it's interesting that we've got a Motard bike leading an open 2-stroke. It's Elledge really hauling out there with his bike number 117 David Crussell in second for the open 2 strokes, and 112 Adrian Jasso back there in that 3rd place for the open 2 strokes. 491 Brian Surtees moves forward on that second lap to round out your top 5 as Elledge once again sets a blistering pace leading the field here, working his lap number 3.
Like the number 91 machine, yeah, green Kawasaki. Sean Smith had to pull off track Looks like he maybe had a little mechanical. They were just showing him on the security camera or safety camera.
Oh, is he out on the front straight here?
Oh yeah, and he's right on the front straight. You're right. He's right
He
here.
might not have made the start. What's going on with my race monitor?
Yeah, it looks like he didn't make the start. If he still is just sitting there, because I sure didn't see anybody like pull off.
We're seeing it just out front, but Star Poly just flashed across the start finish line.
Do you gotta refresh it?
I just did.
Ah. Jay and I chatting about what's going on over on the race monitor.
Unfortunately, sometimes it's not exactly.
Sometimes it freezes up a little
Yeah,
bit,
it's not exactly 100% accurate. Okay.
but it's like 98%. to be
Race
fair.
leaders 133 Paul Elledge down into turn number 1. Bike number 80L Ralph Starpoli right there behind them. They're first and second overall, but racing in different classes is about 4 to 5 bike lengths separated those two. Then it's going to be 117 David Crussell and bike number 491 John Surtees working his way up onto the third step of the podium. As it looks like Starpoli might have made his move on Elledge as that duo works their way down into turn number 5, Charlotte's Web. So I'm not sure if Elledge is having a bit of a moment out there or what's going on. It looks like Starpoli really turns it on and stretches out down the back straight as he dives down into turns number 8, 9, and over into 10 by the museum. He's going to encounter some lap traffic. We'll see how that's going to work out. Meanwhile, 117 David Cross is still holding on second with bike number 491. Brian Surtees moving himself up onto that third step of the podium for the open two-stroke. And 112 Adrian Jasso rounding out your top 5. That Starpoli setting again a blistering pace up the hill he goes as he's worked his way around some of the back markers.
Starpoli just having a really good day out here so far. Very, very fast. And we've got a little group coming around to start
Race
finishing.
leaders all the way back over into turns 14, 15, and 16. We're going to see how it's going to shake out here in just a moment as they come around. They should see the green and white flags, let them know they've got 4 done and 4 left to go. As there goes your race leader, it is bike number 80L, Ralph Starpoli, back up to the lead. Then second place rider is going to be 491, Brian Surtees, really turning it on heavy that last lap. 117, David Crussell back there in third. Bike number 133, Paul Elledge, who was leading early on, back in the 4th overall, but he's still leading, got a substantial lead for the Motard field as bike number R73, Greg Levicki, rounds out your top 5. So with the halfway flags out, still a lot of laps left for Brian Surtees on 491. We'll see if he's going to be able to reel in Ralph Starpoli as he was charging hard that last lap. Still a lot of laps left to go. Looks like bike number 112, Adrian Jasso, back there in that 6th place position. 99X, Jonathan Schendel in 7th. Bike number 9, Colton Roberts back there in 8th. 781, Paul Nelson in 9th. And bike number 19, Christopher Spargo, rounding out your top 10. As Ralph Starpoli on bike number 80L continues to lead with bike number 491, Brian Surtees trying to chase him down. Okay, I think the leader is working his way through traffic at 13.
And every once in a while, for our fans watching at home, you'll see a little flag in the corner. That camera's up on the roof. Do not adjust your internet.
Bike number 80L, Ralph Starpoli, seeing halfway. Everybody's seeing halfway, so whatever happens, this race should be official. But bike number 491, Brian Surtees charging hard. About a half a front straightaway lead separated those two as they're working their way out of turn number 3 up over the crest of the hill down into the braking zone for turn number 5. There goes Ralph Starpoli, and here comes 491, Brian Surtees right there continuing to chip away at the lead that Starpoli has. Looks like Ralph gets a great drive though out of turn number 6 over the crest of the hill and down that back straightaway. Ralph Starpoler, rather 491, Brian Surtees solidly back there in second. Again, still a few more laps left to go. We'll see if Surtees is going to be able to reel in Starpoler. They're going to come up on some lap traffic here, probably lap after next. They've got a bit of a free and clear turns in front of them right now, but I guarantee they will run into, or catch lap traffic rather, before the white flag comes out, as Starpoler out of the museum turns, out from behind the wall there, up through turns number 10, 11, over into turn number 12. Then it's going to be bike number 491, Brian Surtees, working his way up that hill himself, and bike number 117, David Krussell, right there, rounding out your top three. Looking back on through the field, bike number 133, Paul Ellich, slips back to 6th overall, but still a substantial lead for the Motard field as the laps continue to click down in this race. Bike number 80L, Ralph Starpoler, once again across the start-finish line, 491. Brian Surtees still right there about, and the gap pretty much remains the same as they have to work their way around one of the back markers. Move bike number R73, Greg Levicki, up into that third step of the podium as he's getting the better of his battle with 117, David Krussell. So Levicki up onto the third step of the podium. Meanwhile, Starpoler down into the braking zone for Charlotte's Web, 491. Brian Surtees once again can see him. They're going to come up on some slower traffic, but Starpoler gets a great drive. Once again, a lot of horsepower on that motorcycle as he gaps it out quite a large distance down into turn number 7. So I'm sure that Surtees just hoping that they can come up on some lap traffic, and that might check up Starpoler just enough so he can close in. White flag should be coming out next time by as Levicki still leads Krussell for that third step podium with 112. Adrian Jasso back there rounding out your top 5. Starter has white flag in hand, looking up the field, looking at turn number 17, waiting for our race leader, going to be bike number 80L, Ralph Starpoler, waiting for him to come across the start-finish line. White flag out for him. There's bike number 491, Brian Surtees. He is definitely within striking distance, about a quarter of a front straightaway lead between these two. And here an exciting final lap. Meanwhile, Starpoler has to pick his way through some of the slower back markers. Surtees continues to close as the field works their way out of turn number 2, waiting for him to come into view out of turn number 3. Here we go. Looks like Starpoler is out and around some of the back markers. Here comes Surtees closing in down about 10. The bike lane separate those two as they're mired in traffic through turn number 5. Oh, looks like Surtees gets checked up a bit when one of the riders gets around him. Meanwhile, Starpoler doesn't get the drive that he had the last lap. Here comes Surtees trying to pick up the draft as one rider separate them two as they drive down into turn number 8 and 9 one more time here on the final lap. We'll see if Surtees is going to be able to get around that back marker as they work their way over through the museum. Back now up the hill they come. Looks like R73 Greg Levicki still holding on to that third place position as Starpoler has a bit of breathing room out of turn number 10 over into 11. Surtees digging deep, trying to reel him in. Not sure if he's going to have enough time to do it as Starpoler working his way around some of the back markers up over through turn 12, 13, and over into 14 here. One more time, a few bikes still in front of Starpoler as he's working through the final turns here of an exciting race number 6. Waiting for him to come out of turn number 17 here in just a moment onto the front straightaway. Checkered flag in hand. Here comes the battle for the win. It is 491 Brian Surtees making the pass back in the back section over there. Just nipping bike number 80L, Ralph Starpoler. So Surtees didn't get the best start, was mired in the field at the beginning of this one, and absolutely put his head down and rode a stellar race to reel in bike number 80L, Ralph Starpoler, and nip him at the line and the last turn on the front straightaway. Then R73 Greg Levicki rounding out your top 3 for the two strokes with 117. David Krussell coming home 4th, 112, Adrian Jasso back there in 5th, and looking on down through the field, looks like 133, Paul Elledge rounds out your top 5, or rounds out the winner for the Motard field.
Holy
Wow,
smokes, that was a
nice.
real cat and mouse. Oh my gosh, chestnut checkers.
Attention out there in the paddock. I believe now we are at 11 o'clock in the morning. We should be at our lunch break. Need to run back through the schedule and double check that. Yes, we are at lunch, and I want to let everybody know that Mary McGee will be signing autographs over here in just a few moments over at the museum. Again, Mary McGee, our Grand Marshal, will be signing autographs over in the over at the museum if you want to head on over that way and get yourself an autograph. Okay.
So we are, that is confirmed?
Yeah, it is, because it's 11 o'clock, and then we've got all of this stuff to do here with the
Okay.
track.
Okey. All right.
You got that mic on or not?
Yeah, give me just 1 second. What did I do?
Attention out there in the paddock, one of the better races today, all day. With the conclusion of this, we are now officially at our lunch break. Stay tuned, I'll get some more announcements going on of what the Moto Festival has going on during the lunch break. What's up, Brian? Good, how are you? Looks like you were having fun out there, buddy.
Alrighty, friends, thank you so much for tuning in to this morning's race program. We're going to be shutting down this feed here in just one moment. We will be back. Rebecca Cunningham is going to be picking up the show, the broadcast, with some cross-country and some off-road motorcycle racing going on here in just one moment. And then I will be back here in about an hour or so. We've got a lot of really exciting racing coming your way, coming back at about noon. So make sure you come on back, race fans. You are not going to want to miss it. This is going to be your 16th annual Barber Vintage Festival, powered by BMW Motorrad. See you guys on the flip side.
On that note, I had to make sure it wasn't a